is. Put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat.
After a tough start to the season, the Algona Bulldogs have turned things 180, and they'll look to continue that trend here today as they face the Garner Hayfield Ventura Cardinals. It was a 1-4 beginning to the season for these Bulldogs. They looked very lost in the first couple of games and really struggled to put it together against a tough schedule, but the worm has started to turn, and the Bulldogs have won 3 of their last 4 after absolutely dismantling St. Edmund last night by a score of 60-24, and now they'll look to make it 4 out of 5 here tonight against a tough Cardinal opponent coming in from the top of Iowa West. Tyler Lance with you here on Home Country Radio and, of course, on the Algona Radio YouTube live stream, which is sponsored by Ken the Auto, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Algona State Farm insurance agent Billy Offerman. Algona Municipal Utilities, where they're community-owned for community benefit, and Families of Bishop Garrigan High School, all streaming sponsors here for the Algona Radio YouTube page. And, of course, we did also add a new sponsor for our scoreboard graphic, and that's Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants. So we are definitely very glad to have them on here for high school sports streaming. And certainly an intriguing matchup in front of us here tonight with Algona and Garner Hayfield Ventura. Bulldogs enter at 4-5, and they have a winning record in the North Central Conference right now. 3-2 overall, as they've won 3 consecutive conference games. First time they've done that since the 2019-2020 season. Meanwhile, Garner Hayfield Ventura comes into this game with a 6-5 mark. They are 4-4 over in the top of Iowa West, and they have faced a very difficult schedule. Really, both teams have early on in the season. And if you look at it, Garner Hayfield Ventura's 5 losses have all come against teams that are currently or were at one point state ranked. So they have faced a gauntlet here early on in the season. And they did lose last night 50-32 against a tough North Union team that is now 8-2 on the season, with their only 2 losses being against Bishop Garrigan and Esterville Lincoln Central, 2 of the toughest teams around the state. So Garner Hayfield Ventura played a tough one last night, and they'll make sure they crash the boards here tonight and prevent second chance opportunities for the Cardinals, because they're a team that's averaging about 32.5 rebounds per game, and 14.2 of those are on the offensive end, so 14 extra possessions per game, essentially, is what the Cardinals are getting, and that is certainly something Algona can ill afford to have here tonight. Also of note, Algona, like you mentioned, that 60-point game against St. Edmund last night, their offense has definitely started to tick upwards as we've looked at the past few games. And really, this team's getting comfortable playing against zone-type defenses, and Garner Hayfield Ventura will run a lot of 1-3-1 zone on defense, so the Bulldogs will have to come out and try to be ready for that here in tonight's game. So that's what we're looking for tonight. Again, Algona getting set to face Garner Hayfield Ventura here on Home Country Radio and on the Algona Radio YouTube live stream. We'll step aside for a couple minutes for a quick timeout, get a few words from our sponsors, and we'll come back and continue to get you ready for tip-off coming up next on KLGZ.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these sports club members.
Algona Frame and Auto Body Collision Specialist, a total commitment to excellence.
Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service, call 295-SOFT.
Dump It, commercial and residential garbage too.
Hy-Vee, use the fuel saver, fill your cart, fuel your car.
Algona Livestock Auction, Highway 169 North, sale every Monday.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Style Salon, your salon in Algona. Create yourself.
Farmers State Bank, proud to be part of our community for 125 years, with offices in Algona, Whittemore, and West Bend.
Chemco Tires, they're all you need to know about tires and service.
Sponsoring this broadcast on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
More sports club members making these broadcasts possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Catholic Charities, offering professional counseling services to families and individuals of all faiths. Learn more at calfchar.com.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush always beats a full house.
Grassmasters. Get tips and advice from their lawn care professionals. Grassmasters. Growing satisfied customers.
American Glass, for all your glass needs. Think American.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, serving Algona, Sway City, and the surrounding areas for chiropractic, massage, nutritional care, and physical therapy services.
Dr. Bill Stroman, giving you something to smile about.
Jake Ingalls Electric. For shockingly good service, call 320-4286.
CB Grain Solutions, satisfaction guaranteed.
All bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
New Way K&H Cooperative is a diversified partner to you and your community, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation. They serve farmers, non-farm consumers, and commercial businesses by offering quality products and services to match each individual customer's needs. At New Way K&H Cooperative, their customers are their number one priority. Contact them today by calling 1-800-445-4118 to find out how they can put their ingenuity to work for you.
Tyler Lance back with you here on Home Country Radio. They include Chemna Auto, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Algona State Farm Insurance Agent Billy Offerman. Algona Municipal Utilities, community-owned for community benefit, and Families of Bishop Garrigan, all sponsoring sports streaming this season here on Hometown and Home Country Radio. And, of course, like I mentioned earlier, our new scoreboard sponsor as well, big thank you to them, and that's Greg Penning and Company, Certified Public Accountants. As we get ready for tip-off here tonight, we're just a couple minutes away, and in case you missed Coach Noel McLaughlin earlier this morning on Breakfast with the Coaches, he's certainly very happy for the progress he's seen with his team, and the word he's said to me over and over throughout the season is process. It's a process for Algona. It was a process last year, and it's a process this year in year number 2 under Coach McLaughlin, and Algona has a chance with a win today to match their win total from the entire season last year. They went 5-15 last year. Right now they're at 4 wins, so really not even at the halfway point in the season, pretty close to halfway. Algona already has a chance to match their season win total from last year, so that would be a pretty big accomplishment for the Bulldogs, and that's what's on the line right now. Meanwhile, for Garner, Hayfield, Ventura, again, they are continuing to try to climb up higher and higher in the top of Iowa West, as prior to last year, Garner, Hayfield, Ventura had 5 consecutive losing seasons, but they started to turn it around last season, put together a nice 13-9 campaign when they finished 5th in a tough top of Iowa West that has a lot of talent on the girls' side. And right now, like we mentioned, they're 4-4 on the top of Iowa West right now, and they face some tough early competition this season. They're getting ready to introduce the starting lineups for the teams here tonight. Garner, Hayfield, Ventura is going to come out wearing their road black uniforms, white lettering, and red trim. Algona with their home whites. They have the red letters and numbers with the black trim, and the red up top on the jersey as well. And Saturday crowd settling in here. Again, not a whole lot of Saturday games throughout the course of the season, but you have a chance as a team to add a few non-conference games, and a lot of times those end up on Saturday, with most of the North Central games being played on Tuesdays and Fridays throughout the year. So both these teams are on the second night of the back-to-back, and it will certainly be interesting to see tonight who comes out with more energy, because the tendency is to come out a little flat sometimes on Saturday. You're out of your routine. There's no school before, and it's just a little bit different than what you're used to. So certainly the team that comes out with more energy here tonight is going to have a big advantage early on. They continue to introduce the starting lineups, and we'll step aside for another timeout. National anthems on the way, and tip-off as well. That's coming up next here on Home Country Radio and on the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
Sports Club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Kasuth Regional Health Center. Make KRHC your home for healthcare.
North Iowa Appliance, Highway 18 East, Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country on Highway 18 West, Algona.
Greg Penning and Company, LLC, your tax service professionals in Algona and Bancroft, where everyone counts.
Yemlin Builders and Quality Apartments for rent. Beauty and craftsmanship that will never go out of style.
Albert Electric. Flip the switch to Albert Electric. Call Neil at 320-0305.
Iowa Lakes Community College. Your community, your college.
Feed Mill Coffee Company in downtown Algona, where community connects.
All sponsors of this broadcast.
With over a decade of experience, Jake Ingalls Electric is here to handle any electrical job you could possibly have. From anything agricultural related to complex commercial wiring to something simple like installing a new outlet in your home, Jake Ingalls Electric does it all. Have your wiring done right and call Jake at 515-320-4286. Jake Ingalls Electric, shockingly good service.
It's now time to meet the starting lineup for the Algona Bulldogs.
For Solbach, Jr., number 4.
Looks over to Solbach. Solbach heads down the center of the lane. She'll take some contact, and she'll roll the layup in with her left hand.
Lily Netherington, Jr., number 22.
To the near side, Effrington rises for 3, and she drains it. 35-21 Algona.
Maddie Hilbert, Sr., number 44.
Kicks it out, Hilbert pulls the trigger on a 3, and she drains it. Maddie Hilbert with the green light and puts Algona up 7-2.
Lauren McLaughlin, freshman, number 40.
Back to the right wing to McLaughlin. She'll try 3. She spins it up and in. Bulldogs are raining 3s.
Alayla Perry, Jr., number 42.
Dumps it inside to Perry. Loses Johnson. Heads to the left of the bucket and lays it in. Tip-off is coming up next on Hometown and Home Country Radio. National Anthem just wrapped up, and you just heard the Algona starters for tonight's game. And we'll take a look at the opposing team for tonight, the Garner Hayfield Ventura Cardinals. They switch up their starting lineup quite a bit, and tonight they'll have the senior Chloe Frank, junior Morgan Krein, senior Liz Richardson, sophomore Greta Gouge, and sophomore Jenna Prignitz in their starting 5 for this game. Again, we mentioned Cardinals 6-5 coming into tonight. Algona 4-5 so far this season. As the players come out onto the court, getting ready to tip things off tonight for Algona at midcourt. It'll be Alayla Perry, and she will match up over there in the center with Chloe Frank. And we're just about ready to go here tonight. Referee comes out to midcourt, holds the basketball out in his right hand, takes a couple looks around, and here we go. Ball is up in the air, it's tipped backwards, and it's picked up by Lauren McLaughlin as Perry wins that tip over Greta Gouge, that was, and Algona will start things off here. Bulldogs this season averaging about 41 points per game, a flip to the right to Effrington. Again, Cardinals will show a lot of 1-3-1 zone as Perry passes it near side to Solbach, cutting, kicking into the corner to Hilbert. They close quickly on her. She tries to go across the way to Effrington. It got tipped. Effrington got it inside to Perry, now back out to Solbach, and around the perimeter go the Bulldogs. They've gotten a lot better lately at working very patiently and waiting for a good shot rather than trying to rush one. These possessions could even take up to a minute for Algona as it's a handoff in the lane to Perry. Tries to fall away and put it up. No. Hilbert offensive rebound, forces it up through contact, and she was fouled. We'll say that foul was on the floor as Greta Gouge will get called for her first one of the night. That was 40 seconds there on that Algona possession, essentially 39 with 7:21 here on the clock. Effrington lobs it into Solbach, and the possession continues for the Bulldogs. A bounce pass down to Effrington, now out to Solbach on the near side, surveying the zone defense, splits a couple defenders and passes right to Effrington, stops on the wing, then goes into the far corner. Hilbert, now a flip back out to Effrington. Comes near side to Solbach with 7:05 on the clock. Now back to the right to Effrington. Cardinals this season allowing 41 points per game as Perry gets it down in the near corner. Across the way to Effrington, passes up a 3, gets it into the corner for Hilbert for a 3, and she hits it again. Maddie Hilbert is continuing to shoot 3-pointers like they're layups. I mean, I sound like a broken record, but she has been hitting 3-pointers all season long, and she gets Algona on the board first with a 3-0 lead. So Cardinals touch the ball for the first time, a minute and 20 seconds into this game, and that may be the strategy for Algona. Just continue to have these long, grinding possessions, avoid turnovers, and Cardinals almost turned it over there, but they maintain possession. A bounce pass down to the baseline to Gouge. Goes across the perimeter to Frank. Frank, the leading scorer on the team at 12.8 points per game, goes to Prignitz, now down into the corner Gouge. And then they find a wide-open Liz Richardson in the lane for the layup. And Coach Noel McLaughlin will immediately take a 30-second timeout and has some adjustments he wants to make right away on defense. Well, again, Algona just kind of drifted around there. Liz Richardson moved without the basketball and got wide open there in the center of the lane that time to make the score 3-2. And Coach McLaughlin will make an immediate adjustment after that possession. And again, 6:11 on the clock right now. Garner Hayfield Ventura did essentially what Algona tried to do that time, which was just patiently work the ball around of quick passes, probe that defense, and wait for a wide open shot to come before you take it. And they were able to do that successfully, so certainly early indications here. Could show a low-scoring game if these teams continue to play just as patiently as they have to start this one off. Algona ball coming out of the timeout as Effrington will walk it into the front court. Bulldogs looking for their second consecutive win as they beat St. Edmund last night. 6:01 on the clock. Effrington comes to the near side. Hilbert now back out to Effrington. Over to Solbach. Pump fakes inside. Rotates around the perimeter to Hilbert. 1 of 1 on three-pointers early on tonight. Now Effrington gets it back up just to the left of the logo. Hilbert and Effrington go back and forth. Frank got in the passing lane and knocked it into the backcourt where it's picked back up by Effrington. Stops just to the right of center, goes to Solbach, now back to Effrington. Took a quick look at the basket, rotates it over to Hilbert. She'll come up a little short on the three-pointer that time, and Prignitz grabs the rebound. Up the near side of the court to Chloe Frank. She'll try to answer for three, but it's short. Wedges in there, and it's picked up by Lauren McLaughlin. Algona 1 of 2 early on three-pointers. Solbach in the near corner. Everyone backs off. Solbach takes the three. That one banks off the glass. Hilbert follows, and Hilbert gets fouled. The defense dared Tora Solbach to take that three as she got it in the near corner. The defender maybe about 4 or 5 feet away from her, but then everyone backed off. While Solbach still had the basketball, she took the three, but great job rebounding there from Maddie Hilbert, who line drives the foul shot, and that one misses off to the right. Score stays 3-2, and Hilbert will try again. Doesn't take very many foul shots as that one bounces off the rim. 0 for 2 is a huge fall that time. Boy, hopefully Richardson's all right. She went up for the rebound and kind of had her legs taken out from underneath her, and she may have hit her head there on the floor. Well, they'll take a look at Richardson here, and we'll take a quick timeout. Again, hopefully she's all right. Again, score 3-2 here in favor of Algona with 5:09 on the clock in quarter number 1.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Call PMC Advantage with offices in Algona, Burt, Corwith, Garner, Sway City, and West Bend.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
Back here at Algona High School on Home Country Radio, KLGZ. Right now it's the Bulldogs holding a 3-2 lead over the Garner Hayfield Ventura Cardinals, and they are still tending right now to an injured Liz Richardson. Again, in case you missed it, just a scary moment on that last foul shot there by Hilbert. Shot missed off to the right. Richardson went up to try to get the rebound and almost had her legs taken out from underneath her, as now she's fortunately on her feet, but it looked like she took a pretty hard fall that time and hit her upper body, maybe even hit the head. So looks like she'll go to the bench here for a little bit, and Garner Hayfield Ventura will replace her in the lineup for now. And again, early on in this game, slow pace of play, but that's to be expected here with a couple teams that try to build things on the defense. Algona had a really good defensive effort last night against St. Edmund in that 60-24 win. In fact, they held the Gales scoreless over the final 11 minutes of that game. No points for St. Edmund, as Algona really put it away and, again, improved to 3-2 in the North Central Conference. And right now, Bulldogs are slowly starting to work their way up the standings. Took a couple early losses. They had the tough schedule facing Clear Lake really early in the season. Also going up against Humboldt, who's near the top of the conference right now. But with that 3-2 record, the Bulldogs have just bumped up in the North Central Conference, and they are dead set in the middle of the pack right now. So plenty of time as well to continue moving up here. And this game obviously will not count towards the conference standings as Garner Hayfield Ventura plays within the top of Iowa West, where, again, like you mentioned earlier, they face a lot of tough competition. And early on this season, they faced several state-ranked teams. They had a loss to Newell Fonda to open up the season. That was a 22-point loss. Also dropped games against Forest City, West Hancock, Bishop Garrigan, and North Union. That's how you account for the 5 losses for the Cardinals so far this season, as it will be Algona basketball here coming out of the injury timeout. They're setting up with Efrington underneath the basket just to the far side. And I think for Garner Hayfield Ventura, head coach Matt Frank is trying to contend that it's Cardinal basketball coming out of there, but to no avail here as the Bulldogs will start with it. 5:09 on the clock. Efrington sends it in, and we're back underway. McLaughlin on the right wing tried to feed it down inside, but that pass a little bit behind the intended target, and Gouge picks it off. Frank flips it to the far side of the court to Hedgelick, who just checked into the game, replacing Richardson. Offensive board, though, for Gouge. Garner Hayfield Ventura is great at getting those offensive boards. It's another missed 3, is coming up short as Prignitz, and Algona this time comes out with the rebound. McLaughlin gives it to Efrington, now flips it left to Solbach. Solbach splits between a couple defenders and bounces it left to Efrington. Efrington comes back to the left to Solbach, looks towards Perry, then goes back to the right towards Efrington. They go into the corner to Hilbert. Hilbert surveying the defense back onto the left wing to Solbach. Around the right towards Efrington, now far corner to Hilbert. Maybe could have done a catch and shoot there, but decided to continue the possession instead. A bounce to Perry, now back to Solbach as the ball got past 6 games. They've had 14 or fewer turnovers in 4 of them, but that's always going to be a concern of a young developing team. Prignitz goes around the perimeter to Krein and then over to Hedgelick, now back up to the top to Krein. Krein flips it back to the left. 4:02 on the clock, 3-2 early lead here for Algona. Krein will start to take a couple dribbles towards the right. Solbach defends and then flips it back to the left to Frank. That's one thing that's really stood out about this Cardinal offense. They really don't take a whole lot of dribbles. They pass it pretty much almost as much as they dribble it. As one dribble there for Hedgelick, and she'll go back to Frank. Around the perimeter it goes to Krein. Krein coming into the near corner to Prignitz. Again, Prignitz in the starting lineup tonight. Had usually been coming off the bench, as they'll get it back up top and reset it here with 3:33 on the clock. Krein flips it left to Chloe Frank. Frank to the far side of the court to Hedgelick. Down low on the block. Working, hooking around, putting it off the glass and scoring it is Greta Gouge. Well, that was a slow move, but she just patiently worked right around Perry, had her side turned to Perry, and just used that to create some space and give Garner Hayfield Ventura a 4-3 lead. Ball is thrown out of bounds on the other end by Algona. There's another early turnover here for the Bulldogs. 4-3 Cardinals, as jogging the ball across half court is the 5'6" Krein. Comes towards the right to Prignitz. She'll try a 3, and that one is a little bit short. Trying to chase down the long rebound and saving it back into play is Hedgelick. Now to the foul line. Frank drives to the right, lays it up and scores it.
Frank for 2.
The Cardinals' length is going to cause a few issues there rebounding for Algona. They have a couple 6-footers in their starting lineup, and Frank is one of them. 2:44 on the clock. Now Efrington flips it back to the left to Solbach. Goes into the high post McLaughlin, now right to Efrington. They rotate it to Hilbert. She'll shoot a 3. She'll swish a 3. And we are tied at 6. Maddie Hilbert now a 2-for-3 night shooting so far on the 3-pointers. And of 2:27 on the clock, Cardinals will have it back trying to answer. Bulldogs sit back in the 2-3 zone defense. Pass into the lane to Frank. They collapse in on her, and she'll bounce it back out to Krein. Krein will take a contested 3 over Hilbert. That one deadens off the back iron. Then inside, Perry blocks the shot of Gouge, but she also got some arm as well and commits the foul. Greta Gouge, another offensive board, and she'll shoot a couple 3 throws here. Gouge is the leading rebounder on this Cardinal team this season, as she's averaging 6.3 per game. Starting here tonight, as this is her 8th start in the 12 games for the Cardinals, and she'll come up short on the first foul shot. Algona will make a substitution here for the first time tonight, as Van Otterloo will replace Solbach. And for the Cardinals, Krein goes to the bench, and they'll bring in Kylie Anderson. Anderson was a starter in their most recent game against North Union, comes off the bench here tonight. Second foul shot bounces off the back of the iron and drops through. That'll make it 7-6 Cardinals. Now Cardinals showing a little zone backcourt pressure here, as they'll get it across the timeline to McLaughlin. Comes across the Bulldog logo, now passes it right to Efrington. She has a great look from 3, and she'll rattle it in. 9-7 Algona as Efrington connects. Bulldogs have been a good 3-point shooting team. They're just under 33% on the season, and they've hit a few early on. Now a deep 3 is attempted. It bounces off to the right for Prignitz, and McLaughlin rebounds for Algona with 1:43 on the clock. McLaughlin jogs it into the front court. flips it to Effrington, fought about the three, but got it down into the corner to Hilbert. Quick hands there from Prignitz, knocked it away. Now to McLaughlin. She'll shoot a turnaround mid-range J, bounces off, and reaching back to rebound it is Prignitz. Prignitz quickly up the court and cutting into the passing lane to knock it away and stop that transition opportunity was Effrington. So from in front of the Algona bench, it'll be Frank to trigger here for the Cardinals. Frank puts it into play to Helgic. Now back to Frank. Into the near corner to Prignitz. She fakes, takes one dribble. Algona lets her shoot it, and she airballs it. Maddie Hilbert rebounds. Prignitz maybe a little bit too wide open that time. Had time to think about it. 1:11 on the clock. Now up top to Effrington. Directs traffic with the left hand and passes it right to Van Otterloo. Pumps the ball over her head a couple times and comes back around the horn. Over to Hilbert, now up top to Effrington. A flip to McLaughlin in the high post. Now out to Hilbert on the wing. Top of the key, Effrington, now right wing Van Otterloo. She tried to dump it inside the parry, got knocked right back into her lap with 50 seconds to go in the quarter. Effrington to the left to Hilbert. Now back to Effrington. Head fakes to the right, now comes to the left. Algona continues to maneuver the ball around the perimeter. Van Otterloo to Effrington. She'll take a good look from three, and that one banks off to the right, no good. 34 seconds to go, 9-7 Algona lead. A flip up the court to Gouge, shoots over Effrington, and Effrington fouls her. That'll send Gouge to the line with 29 seconds to go here in this first period.
Personal foul called on Lillian.
So far, 2 fouls committed by both teams so far. First free throws of the night coming for Gouge, second free throw opportunities of the night for Gouge. She's 1 of 2 so far. And now 2 of 3, she drains that one. And great news here for the Cardinals as Liz Richardson, who took that scary fall earlier, returns to the game. Also coming back in is Morgan Krein. Prignitz on the bench right now, and Chloe Frank taking a rest. 9-8, and that foul shot will miss off to the right, and Effrington tracks down the rebound. Bulldogs will likely try to work it here for the last shot, as Effrington passes between the defense. Hilbert with 20 seconds. Gets it to McLaughlin, top of the key. She'll back up a step and come left to Effrington. Now to the right to Van Otterloo. Down in the corner, Hilbert. She'll try a contested three, and that one's off the back of the iron, as there was a good closeout that time for the Cardinals. Now 8 seconds to go in the quarter. Cardinals will have the last shot. Top of the key triple on the way. Off to the left for Krein. 3 seconds. The players get tied up on the floor with 1 second to go, and a jump ball is called. Possession arrow here is towards the Cardinals. They'll have time to very briefly get off a quick shot. Algona will make a quick couple substitutions. Perry out. Najee Price in. Solbach will come in and she'll replace Hilbert for Algona. And this is going to have to be very quick for Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. They get it into the corner. Open look for Frank. And she overshot it. Or check that was Krein overshooting it. And the quarter number 1 ends with a 9-8 Algona lead as we take a timeout and come back in 60 seconds here on Home Country Radio.
More Sports Club members bringing you this broadcast.
Jensen Chiropractic, care for the whole family.
Countryside Barbecue Sauce, 2 sauces for all seasons.
Erpelding Excavating, let them take care of your grading, excavating, and drainage needs.
Farm Bureau Financial Services, coverage and protection for what matters most. Visit with local agents David Weiss, Jason Brace, Daniel Folk, and Michael Toll.
Sudol Tax and Accounting, full-service tax and accounting services from the professionals at Sudol Tax and Accounting. Call 395-1040. They see beyond the numbers.
Holmes Animal Clinic, caring for your pets from their location at Highway 18 East. They now have an indoor unit to serve equine, cattle, sheep, and goats. Also on-site boarding for cats and dogs.
Oakcrest Funeral Services, helping families celebrate a life lived.
All members of the Sports Club bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Back here on Home Country Radio and on the Algona Radio YouTube live stream, as right now the Bulldogs lead the Garner Hayfield Ventura Cardinals 9-8. Again, a big thank you to all our streaming sponsors, including Chemna Auto. It's not just about the car, it's about the care. Algona State Farm Insurance agent Billy Offerman. Algona Municipal Utilities, community-owned for community benefit. And Families of Bishop Garrigan, streaming sponsors here today. And also, of course, Greg Penning and Company Certified Public Accountants, the sponsor of our scoreboard here, as you can see it for those of you watching the video stream. Bulldogs start with the basketball coming out of the quarter break. 9-8 is the Algona lead right now as Perry catches in the near corner. Now gets it to Solbach, takes 2 dribbles left and flips to Van Otterloo. Frank comes out to defend, a bounce to the right to Solbach. Back to the left, Van Otterloo. In today for the first time for Algona as McLaughlin takes a seat on the bench. They do have Paige Schmidt on the floor right now as Van Otterloo goes to the right to Solbach. Now to the far side to Maddie Hilbert. She'll come back to the near side. Van Otterloo. She'll try a three and she'll drain it. I beg your pardon, Kaylee Carroll is the substitution Algona's made. That's another three-pointer here for Algona as Van Otterloo has her first three of the night. Frank will try to answer for the Cardinals, and she's a little bit short on that one. 12-8's the Bulldog lead. Offense so far has been predicated on making the three-point ball. And it's just these long, grinding possessions ending in these good three-point looks for the Bulldogs as Perry catches. Has a defender on her, whips it near side to Van Otterloo. Now in the corner to another good look for Hilbert. Line drive that one a little bit, though. Solbach comes in for the rebound, gets right around the defender Gouge, and lays it in. 14-8 Algona. Nifty move that time by Tora Solbach. Gouge had her feet kind of stuck there in the paint, and Solbach just got the rebound, scooted right around, and gives Algona their biggest lead of the night. Now banging inside is Gouge. Layup rolls off the rim, and Perry rebounds for the Bulldogs. 6:37 on the clock. Algona had a 0 of 8 shooting night on three-pointers against Humboldt earlier this season, but since that time, they're shooting about 40% on threes, and it is very difficult to shoot 40% on three-pointers for anyone, let alone a whole team. As Perry's down on the block, now left wing Solbach. 6:19 on the clock, a bounce to the right to Van Otterloo, now back down on the block to Barry. She powers over the top and scores over Prignitz to make it 16-8. Alayla Perry on the board for the first time tonight with a powerful move there in the post. Prignitz comes to the foul line. Frank now flips it near side. Krein. She'll elevate for a three-pointer, and that one is long. Van Otterloo comes out for the rebound on the weak side. The freshman up the far side of the court gives it up to Solbach by the logo. Algona against the zone defense really plays kind of a three-out type of look. As at the foul line is Carroll. Now in the near corner, Perry goes across the court to Van Otterloo. 5:41 on the clock. A bounce pass to Solbach. Pretty much at any given time, the Bulldogs will always have three players beyond the three-point line as they turn it over. Racing up the court is Krein, trying to go coast to coast. Leaves that little finger roll short from the lane, but offensive board picked up by Gouge. Quick ball movement over to a left angle triple, and burying that one is Prignitz. Well, Cardinals got off to a slow start out of the gate in three-point shooting, but they hit one there, and Coach McLaughlin will take a timeout. The score at 16-11, and it'll be a full timeout, so we'll take it right with him. Back here in 60 seconds on Home Country Radio, KLGZ.
For Sports Club members, bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Rental Zone, Highway 18 East in Algona. The tool and equipment rental specialist. Phone 395-RENT.
Dance Connection and Tumbling by Michelle. Passionate about teaching, creative about dance. Visit their studio at 1400 East Commercial in Algona or danceconnectionbymichelle.com.
Daylight Donuts, open early, serving yummy donuts, rolls, and great coffee. Located at 502 South Phillip Street.
Signworks for all your signage needs, as well as printed shirts, caps, and jackets. Stop in or call 295-9544.
Farm and Home Services. Check their many listings at farmhomeservices.com.
Pizza Ranch. Eat in or delivery. Catering also available.
TAFE Wellness Center. Dr. Shane TAFE. Keeping athletes in the game with chiropractic care. Located at 105 South Phillip Street in Algona.
All sponsors of this broadcast.
We resume coming out of the Algona timeout. Right now it's the Bulldogs leading the Cardinals 16-11 here on this Saturday. Algona will have the basketball as Solbach comes left to Effrington, now around the way to Hilbert. Again, Algona's production has been predominantly on the three-point shot, and Hilbert will try one right here, and she drains it again. My goodness, nobody can stop Maddie Hilbert from shooting threes. 19-11 is the Algona lead. I mean, this is just getting absurd. She continues to lead the North Central Conference in three-point shooting, as now Cardinals will try to answer back again. To the far side of the court is Anderson. Hangs with the basketball and then comes to the right to Frank. Frank, the 6-foot-tall senior, goes back to Anderson. Now down low, getting behind McLaughlin, and laying it in is Gouge. Nice job that time. Patient possession, and Gouge did a good job of just using the body to shield off McLaughlin and have an open look at the basket to make it 19-13. Bulldogs continue to probe this zone defense. It's a little bit more of a aggressive zone than some teams do play, as up top is Effrington. A flip to the foul line to Carroll, now to the right to Hilbert. Back up top to Effrington, over to Solbach on the left side. 4:09 on the clock. Effrington pumps and then comes left to Solbach, and Effrington will come back up top and reset the offense here. But Algona's getting a lot of good three-point looks, really just by passing it around the perimeter. Then a look down inside of McLaughlin. She turns, and she traveled on the turn. Trying to work a post move that time, but again, got a little bit tied up. And with the travel, she'll turn it over as Alayla Perry will replace Carroll for Algona. But yeah, Algona's offense right now, it's a lot of passes around the perimeter. Then either Perry or Carroll will get a touch in the high post, and then they'll usually send it out back beyond the perimeter again. And they've had a lot of really good three-point looks so far tonight where they've just moved the ball quickly enough that the Cardinal defense hasn't yet closed on whoever that three-point shooter is. Allie Dare into the game for the first time tonight for the Cardinals. She has it on the right wing wearing jersey number 51. They rotate it to Prignitz. Left angle triple. That one's way short, and it drops straight down into Perry's arms with 3:36 to go in the half. 19-13 Algona, trying to maybe get their most impressive win of the season, as they do have yet to beat a team with a winning record. And tonight, that would change that if Algona was able to take this one. Up by 6. Solbach on the near side. Takes 2 dribbles to the right and then gives it up to the logo to Effrington. Now back to the left to Solbach. She'll try a triple. Bounces high off the rim. Perry rebounds. Goes right back up with it, but went a little bit too hard. It bounces right back into her hands. Runs into Hilbert and kicks it out to Solbach. Solbach penetrates. Left-handed scoop layup. Bounces on the rim and drops through. Great drive that time from Tora Solbach, and that's what's going to happen if Algona gets a lot of second chance opportunities as they did on that possession. Now a near corner triple is swished. Great shot that time from Kylie Anderson. Anderson, not someone who shoots the ball a whole lot. She's played in all 12 of the Cardinal games so far this season, but that was only her 14th shot attempt of the season, as she's now made 4 of them. A feed inside to Perry, and that one gets ripped right out of her hands by Liz Richardson. 21-16, the Algona lead right now. They lost last year's matchup against Garner, Hayfield, Ventura, as the Cardinals shut Algona down defensively. Dancing inside and getting blocked that time is Prignitz. Perry with the rejection, and Van Otterloo will replace Solbach right now for Algona. Hedgeluck comes into the game, replacing Anderson. And they'll make one other substitution as well as Krein returns into the ball game. For this inbounds play, Cardinals lined up in a stack with their 4 players. Into the near corner is Krein to receive the basketball. Effrington guards closely. Now down onto the block to Richardson. Back out to Krein. Near corner Prignitz. Penetrates. Just scoops it up sideways. Not really sure what she was looking at there, as was probably looking for a foul more than anything. Algona gets the ball coming out of that, 21-16. Just went in a little bit out of control that time as McLaughlin turns around, has the ball peeled away from her. Nice defensive play there for Richardson and the Cardinals to take it away. Up the court comes Prignitz, stops just to the right of center, now goes right to Krein. She'll rise for a 3. It's off the front of the iron, and reaching out for the rebound is Van Otterloo. 1:48 to go right now. Algona still up by 5. Again, last season's matchup saw Garner, Hayfield, Ventura win 45-26. Bulldogs already close to surpassing that point total. Just another piece of evidence is how they've improved. Hilbert comes back to left McLaughlin, or check that Effrington. Now McLaughlin gets it in the high post, flips it right to Hilbert. Now down onto the baseline Perry. She'll try a long jumper, and she airballs at that time, and Prignitz picks it up. That's not a shot Alayla Perry's usually used to taking, as she'll take most of her shots from the paint area. Bulldogs knock the pass out of bounds along the near side with 1:15 to go. As Gouge re-enters for the Cardinals, she'll replace Prignitz. Adding a little rebounding to the lineup. Cardinal basketball, Krein has it up top. A pass to the right, Helgic drives baseline, scoops it into the lane. Got knocked away briefly, but went right into Gouge's hands. Now they'll rotate around the perimeter to Frank. Far corner, Hedgeluck passes up the 3. Now gets to Frank, left wing triple, and she swishes that one. Oh, a big shot here with under a minute to go. And all of a sudden, Algona's lead is all the way back down to 2. Cardinals crawl back into it. Cardinals, a 25.7% three-point shooting team this season. Started cold this game, but here in the second quarter, they have greatly improved that three-point shooting. Hilbert surveys the zone, then comes left Effrington. Around the perimeter, Van Otterloo, now back to the right Effrington. Took a quick look at the basket. Now she'll look inside, waiting for someone to pop open. Gets to Perry along the baseline. 28 seconds to go. Rotation to Van Otterloo. She'll rise for 3. That one is way long as it gets all glass. But Hilbert craftily peels the rebound away with 20 seconds to go. That one rolled in between a couple legs that time, and Hilbert was just able to peel it away. And now Algona has a much better chance of taking the final shot of this quarter. Hilbert with 10 seconds, just to the right of center. Has the ball almost knocked away from her on the pass. Gets to McLaughlin with 5 seconds. McLaughlin flips it right to Hilbert. She'll rise for a three at the buzzer. Bounces off the rim, and that'll be it for the half. 21-19 is the Algona lead here in a first half that saw some good three-point shooting for the Bulldogs, but a miss there at the buzzer will keep it a 2-point game. We'll step aside for a couple minutes, get a few words from our sponsors, and come back with halftime coverage up next here on Home Country Radio, KLGZ, and on the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
Sports Club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Kasuth Regional Health Center. Make KRHC your home for healthcare.
North Iowa Appliance, Highway 18 East, Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country on Highway 18 West, Algona.
Greg Penning and Company, LLC, your tax service professionals in Algona and Bancroft, where everyone counts.
Yemlin Builders and Quality Apartments for rent. Beauty and craftsmanship that will never go out of style.
Albert Electric. Flip the switch to Albert Electric. Call Neil at 320-0305.
Iowa Lakes Community College. Your community, your college.
Feed Mill Coffee Company in downtown Algona, where community connects.
All sponsors of this broadcast.
I loved playing high school sports. I loved the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, all the pageantry, and I wanted to keep playing. But I graduated. No colleges called, and neither did the pros. So, to stay close to the game I loved, I decided to become a high school official. You know, a referee. When I played high school sports, I learned the importance of integrity, good sportsmanship, and respect for the rules. Now, as a high school official, I get to help model these same values to others. Maybe the colleges and the pros didn't call, but the kids in Iowa did. And now, I'm enjoying the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, and all the pageantry of high school sports all over again.
Interested in becoming a licensed high school official? Go to highschoolofficials.com to learn more and begin the application process.
With today's technology, there's no reason to wait by the mailbox for bank statements. Just sign up for internet banking and e-statements. This is Sherry at Security State Bank. E-statements reduce the risks of mail fraud and identity theft. Internet banking allows you to check your balances, see checks and deposits that have cleared, transfer funds between accounts, make payments, and say goodbye to paper filing and shredding. Internet banking and e-statements from Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Iowa. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Iowa High School Athletic Association and the Iowa High School Athletic Directors Association.
Time between Algona and Garner Hayfield Ventura here from Algona High School and live on Home Country Radio, KLGZ, and the Algona Radio YouTube live stream, which of course is brought to you by our great sponsors, including Chemna Auto, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Algona State Farm Insurance Agent Billy Offerman, Algona Municipal Utilities, community owned for community benefit, and Families of Bishop Garrigan, all sponsoring sports streaming here on Hometown and Home Country Radio. And of course, we do also have our scoreboard sponsor, Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants, to thank as well, all making high school sports possible here for this 2021-2022 season. Meanwhile, back here at the gym, interesting first half between Algona and Garner Hayfield Ventura. Bulldogs up 21-19 at the break. And boy, they had a chance to go into half with maybe a 6 or 8 point lead. They were up 21-12 at one point, but a 7-0 run by the Cardinals closed out the half and got things at least a little bit closer and make things more interesting as we go into the second half. And for the Bulldogs, a familiar formula, finding those good three-point shooters and just having those nice, long, grinding possessions against the zone defense. And this is a young Bulldogs team, a team that had a lot to learn throughout last season and the first part of this season, but it seems like they are really starting to figure out how they want to play against these teams that will throw a zone at you, whether you're talking about a 2-3 zone or more of a 1-3-1 type of a look. But Bulldogs playing well here offensively, went a little cold there towards the end of the second quarter, but for the most part in the first half, shot the ball pretty well, played pretty well, and even when they didn't get it to drop, their shot selection was very, very good here tonight. They've had a lot of good-looking three-pointers, and certainly they've made quite a few of them as Matty Hilbert leads the way for the Bulldogs with 8, and really several other players have 3. Etherington has 3, McLaughlin, or make that Van Otterloo, has 3, and Alayla Perry with 2 right now. On the Cardinals side of things, Chloe Frank currently has 5 points. With 6 points right now, it's Greta Gouge. And with 2 points, Liz Richardson. And not a whole lot else for the Cardinals. Prignitz as well has chipped in with points for Garner Hayfield Ventura. So that's what the scoring looks like here at halftime as Algona looks for their 4th win in the past 5 games. And that's not something that's been said a whole lot. When you look at last season for Algona, again, just a 5-15 year. But with a win here tonight, Bulldogs would match that win total from last year. And really, it's hard to compare teams from one year to the next just of how many graduations there are and how much transition, but just a really similar Bulldog roster with a couple of freshmen infused into the rotation as well. And even if you just look back to last year's game between these two teams, I mean, Algona was not particularly competitive in a 45-26 loss against these Cardinals last season, and a Cardinal team that had roughly the same core of players. As if you look at their lineup, I mean, they have a couple 3-year starters in there of Chloe Frank and Liz Richardson, so you're seeing a lot of the same talent on this Cardinal team, but the Bulldogs playing them much closer and even have led for most of the first half at this point, just based on the good three-point shooting that they've had so far. So, much improved Bulldog team, and certainly they'd love to get a win here and close things out in the second half. And like we said, this would probably be their most impressive win of the season up to this point if they were able to close out this game. The teams they've beaten so far, Webster City, St. Edmund, Charles City, all of them teams that have struggled so far this season. They also have a win over Clarion Goldfield Dows, who's been about a 500 team, but certainly not quite as impressive of a resume as the Cardinals have early on in this season. So should be a very interesting second half. Again, second night of a back-to-back for both teams, and it is always a grind. You're playing on tired legs the day after a night game, and you're playing in the afternoon, kind of out of your routine, not at school, not with your friends all day, and you just kind of roll out of bed, do a shoot-around in the morning, prepare for the game, and then get to the gym in the afternoon and get ready for some basketball action. But with all that being said, we've still had a very, very competitive game here so far tonight. So 21-19 at the half. We'll step aside for another few quick words from our sponsors and bring you half number 2 next here on Home Country Radio, KLGZ.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these sports club members.
Algona Frame and Auto Body Collision Specialists, a total commitment to excellence.
Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service, call 295-SOFT.
Dump It, commercial and residential garbage. They do the dirty work so you don't have to.
Hy-Vee, use the fuel saver, fill your cart, fuel your car.
Algona Livestock Auction, Highway 169 North, sale every Monday.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Style Salon, your salon in Algona. Create yourself.
Farmers State Bank, proud to be part of our community for 125 years, with offices in Algona, Whittemore, and West Bend.
Chemco Tires, they're all you need to know about tires and service.
Sponsoring this broadcast on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
New Way K&H Cooperative is a diversified partner to you and your community, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation. They serve farmers, non-farm consumers, and commercial businesses by offering quality products and services to match each individual customer's needs. At New Way K&H Cooperative, their customers are their number one priority. Contact them today by calling 1-800-445-4118 to find out how they can put their ingenuity to work for you.
And we are ready for half number 2 of basketball action. Tyler Lance with you on Home Country Radio, KLGZ, and on the Algona Radio YouTube live stream, as it'll be the Garner Hayfield Ventura Cardinals starting off with the basketball. Algona up 21-19. Up top, it's Frank. Now down onto the baseline, Gouge. Back out to the top to Frank, just to the right of the Algona logo. She heads towards the left, as again, Cardinals heading from right to left on your radio dial. Nice dump down to the baseline, and Gouge able to float it in, and we are tied at 21, a brand new ball game. Cardinals continuing that run they went on at the end of the half to make it a 2-point game in the first place, as Algona had a little separation, but that disappeared quickly. Solbach goes to Effrington. Now down low to McLaughlin. Has little space. They crash in on her, and McLaughlin fires it off the backboard. Ball pops out to Effrington, though, and Algona able to save the possession. A bounce to McLaughlin, far side of the court. Catch and shoot threes off the back iron. Perry tries to tip it and keep it alive, but it goes out of bounds, and Cardinals get it back. Well, Garner Hayfield Ventura, last night they were held to just 9 first-half points, so certainly a little bit better offense here today. Still below their season average pace, though, of 48, as it's down to the baseline to Gouge. Over to Krein, now up top, it goes to Richardson. Far corner to Frank. She'll rise for a corner three, and she swishes it. Chloe Frank is starting to feel it a little bit, and all of a sudden, Cardinals are up 24-21. Frank with 8 points. Solbach to the front court, comes near side Effrington. Pumps and goes back to the far side Solbach. 6:47 on the clock, a flip back to Effrington. Takes one dribble and comes into the near corner to Hilbert, where the zone comes in on her. Now to the far side, Solbach. Solbach will back up a couple steps, then she'll try to split the defense and pass it to Effrington, and a foul is going to be called here. This will be on the floor as Solbach tried to go in between Frank and Gouge that time, and they will call Gouge for that foul. Second foul of the night for her, and first foul of this half by either team. Really no foul trouble to speak of from either side, as Perry's inbounds pass is tipped by Frank but kept alive as it goes into the hands of Effrington. Ball's knocked away. Oh, and a great play by Prignitz. It was in the near corner, and Prignitz threw it off the shin of Maddie Hilbert and forced out of bounds against Algona. And she had really hardly any real estate to speak of to pull off that move, but very heads-up play that time by the sophomore. Up top to Frank, now down into the lane. Richardson curls around Perry, puts it off the glass, and scores 26-21, and this is where Algona has to be careful. Cardinals can go on a little run as Solbach goes into the front court. Goes to McLaughlin, now back to Solbach. Solbach takes one dribble and comes to the right to Effrington. Effrington will try to dribble in and draw the zone. Comes left to Solbach. She'll rise up for a three. That one rolls out. Perry trying to secure the rebound, but it goes off her fingertips, and Frank picks it up. Frank runs. Here's a 2-on-1. Sidesteps Solbach with great footwork, but can't quite get that layup to fall. McLaughlin bobbles off the rebound, but able to peel it away. Score stays 26-21. Solbach comes up the far side of the court. Dribbles away from the potential double team and gives it to Effrington. Effrington pumps and flips it back to the left to Solbach. Solbach will try to throw it into the corner, but that pass is intercepted by Gouge. Gouge runs. Gouge stops. She'll step back towards the three-point line. Feeds it inside Richardson. Shoots over Perry and powers it in. That ball almost to the side of the rim. It had some crazy English on it, and it spun up and in to make it 28-21 as Coach McLaughlin will now take a 30-second timeout. Cardinals on a 9-0 run right now to begin the second half, and certainly not what Algona had envisioned, but Cardinals playing with a little bit more pace as well. They've gotten into transition a couple of times here in the second half off of Algona's turnovers there, and all of a sudden Bulldogs find themselves down by 7. And they'll need to open up that three-point shooting again. And I think the Cardinals are pretty selectively picking here who they want to shoot three-pointers, as they have played very tightly on Effrington and Hilbert here in the second half, even with the zone defense just closing on them aggressively, not wanting them to shoot the three-pointers, as they've got burned a couple times by those two specifically in the first half. So we'll see what Algona comes out with. They have Van Otterloo, Perry, Effrington, Hilbert, and McLaughlin on the floor right now. Van Otterloo catches, comes across the timeline, and flips it to the near side. Effrington looks inside, flips it back to the left to Van Otterloo. Van Otterloo takes one dribble to the right and bounces it to Effrington. Now whips it back to the left to Van Otterloo. She'll try a triple. It misses to the left, and Prignitz knocks the rebound away, but knocks it right into Perry's hands. Feeds McLaughlin, drives baseline and turns around, looking for her shot, but she hits it off the bottom of the backboard on that attempt. Garner Hayfield Ventura just walled her off that time. Prignitz, near side to Frank. She'll blow past the closing Perry and stop for a jumper. It's long. It rolls off to the weak side, though, where it's picked up by Richardson. A kick out to a three, and Prignitz drains it. Prignitz of 6 points, and it's 31-21. 12-0 run by the Cardinals. 4:34 in the clock. Algona still looking for their first bucket of this half as McLaughlin will deliver it. Nice mid-range jumper that time. Swished it and made it 31-23. First points of the night for the freshman of McLaughlin, coming off 13 points against St. Edmund last night. 4:16 on the clock. Frank up top, heads in, bounces it towards the right. Now into the far corner to Richardson. Coming back around the wing it goes. Up top to Frank, and we'll get a whistle. And looks like a 3-second violation is going to be called here against the Cardinals, so that'll be a break for Algona as Garner Hayfield Ventura turns it over. Richardson will take a quick seat on the bench, and timeout will be called here by the Cardinals. Full timeout, so we'll take one as well. Back in 60 seconds, you're on Home Country Radio.
More Sports Club members bringing you this broadcast.
Jensen Chiropractic, care for the whole family.
Countryside Barbecue Sauce, 2 sauces for all seasons.
Erpelding Excavating, let them take care of your grading, excavating, and drainage needs.
Farm Bureau Financial Services, coverage and protection for what matters most. Visit with local agents David Beisch, Jason Brace, Daniel Folk, and Michael Toll.
Sudol Tax and Accounting, full-service tax and accounting services from the professionals at Sudol Tax and Accounting. Call 395-1040. They see beyond the numbers.
Holmes Animal Clinic, caring for your pets from their location at Highway 18 East. They now have an indoor unit to serve equine, cattle, sheep, and goats. Also on-site boarding for cats and dogs.
Oakcrest Funeral Services, helping families celebrate a life lived.
All members of the Sports Club bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Back here at Algona High School, where right now it's the Garner Hayfield Ventura Cardinals leading the Bulldogs 31-23 here on Home Country Radio and on the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Algona basketball coming out of the timeout. They'll give it here to Effrington. Effrington sees the zone shift towards her, passes far side of the Perry, now around to Van Otterloo, passes up the shot and flips it right to Effrington, takes a quick look at the basket, angles herself to the right, now comes back to the left to Van Otterloo, a bounce pass to Effrington, now to the high post to Kaylee Carroll, down low to Perry, catches on the baseline, a kick out to Van Otterloo, works up the three-point shot, no good, Hilbert gets it back, puts it high off the window, and she'll get fouled. Nice rebounding effort that time by Algona as it was 2 versus 1 down there in the paint, and Algona ended up winning out on that offensive rebound, so Hilbert will shoot a couple free throws here. Hilbert really shoots very few foul shots just because pretty much all of her work is done out beyond the perimeter. And she line drives that one off the back of the iron. No good, and the score stays 31-23. Solbach replaces Effrington for Algona. So right now it's Perry, Carroll, Van Otterloo, Solbach, and Hilbert. And that one bounces off to the right. 0 for 2 trip there for the line for Maddie Hilbert. To the far side of the court to Prignitz. Catch and shoot triple. And it's off the back iron. It felt like all of those have gone down in the half so far for the Cardinals as they've used the three-point ball to build this 31-23 lead. Bulldogs have it back. Solbach waits. Solbach splits the defenders and bounces to Hilbert. She'll have a good right angle look from 3, but that one is off target, and Prignitz boxes out Perry for the rebound. With some pace up the court, Prignitz whips it to the near side. And now quick rotation around the perimeter to Frank. She'll try a 3. That one rattles out. Another good look for the Cardinals, but they missed on their last couple here as the score stays with an 8-point Cardinal lead. 2:52 now for Algona. Van Otterloo looks. Pumps it back to the left to Solbach. Solbach starts to penetrate, trips, loses the basketball, and it's picked up by Gouge for the Cardinals. Coming the other way now is Prignitz. Prignitz, the leading bench scorer in the top of Iowa West, although she was in the starting lineup tonight, just her second start of the season. With the basketball on the far side of the court, Hedgelik, now to Frank. Frank starts and bounces it to Hedgelik in the corner again, now back on the wing to Frank. To the right elbow it goes to Gouge. Now back to the near side Crine. 2:21 on the clock. Into the lane. Gouge working against Perry. A nice hook shot, and she drops it through. 10-point lead for the Cardinals. They are asserting their will here in the third quarter. Cardinals played very well in the second half last night against North Union as well. It was just they dug themselves a big first half hole and couldn't escape out of it. Solbach on the left wing will come back to the right to Van Otterloo. Now trying to get it to the high post to Carroll. Not knocked away, but Carroll tracked it down by the Bulldog logo. 1:52 to go in the half. Hilbert goes across the court to Solbach. Catch and shoot three off the front of the rim, and ball deflects into Prignitz's hand. Last night, Garner Hayfield Ventura won the second half 23-20 against North Union. The problem was they were trailing 30-9 by halftime and just could not make up that deficit. Into the near corner, Hedgelick. Her three-pointer is long, and weak side rebound for Carroll with 1:28 to go. Bulldogs just 2 points so far in this third quarter after having 21 at the half. Van Otterloo comes back to the left to Solbach. A bounce pass down to the baseline, Perry. Near side, Van Otterloo. She'll catch it. She'll fire. She'll drain it. A much-needed three-pointer for Algona, as that's the second of the night for the freshman. It's 33-26. 1:05 to go now for the Cardinals. The junior Crine handling the basketball, heads towards the left. And a short pass to Hedgelick. She'll dribble back to the right, works around the screen very slowly and deliberately, and out to the foul line. Frank quickly rips it out to Crine. Her three-pointer is off the backboard, though, and into Hilbert's hands. Now 46 seconds. Up the court, Van Otterloo. She'll catch and fire again. It bounces high off the back iron. No. Perry cleans the glass, though, and she scores it to make it 33-28. Coach McLaughlin actually thought that Van Otterloo might have been fouled on that three-pointer, but it works out for Algona in any case, as Perry now has 4. Frank handling the basketball with her 8 points. Passes it right to Prignitz. She'll launch a long triple, but the rebound pops off to the weak side to Perry. 19 seconds to go. Up the court to Van Otterloo. Spins away from Frank. Drives towards the bucket. And a blocking foul called against the Cardinals. They're going to get Prignitz on that one. And Van Otterloo will shoot 2 free throws here. Boy, after the Bulldogs just looked really slow and out of sync for most of this third quarter, they have all of a sudden turned it on over the past 90 seconds. And they're on a 5-0 run of their own here. And now they're on a 6-0 run as Van Otterloo swishes that first foul shot. Lineup changes here for the Bulldogs as Carroll and Perry go to the bench. Price and McLaughlin return for Algona. 14 seconds to go now in the quarter. Van Otterloo drains the second foul shot, 33-30, and just like that, it's back down to a one-possession game. Van Otterloo will take a seat on the pine as well. And Etherington will come into the game. Cardinals will try to work it here for the last shot as Crine jogs across half court. Starts the burst past McLaughlin and then passes far corner to Prignitz. Down onto the block it goes. And another layup for Greta Gouge. 3 seconds to go. Bulldogs get it in quickly to Solbach. And she will not get the shot off before the buzzer sounds. And will go to the fourth. Well, Bulldogs get a good job closing that one at the end of the third, and they are in striking range here going to the fourth. 35-30 in favor of Garner Hayfield Ventura here on Home Country Radio and the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
With over a decade of experience, Jake Ingalls Electric is here to handle any electrical job you could possibly have. From anything agricultural related to complex commercial wiring to something simple like installing a new outlet in your home. Jake Ingalls Electric does it all. Have your wiring done right and call Jake at 515-320-4286. Jake Ingalls Electric, shockingly good service.
We go to the fourth quarter here on Home Country Radio and the Algona Radio YouTube live stream, brought to you by Chemna Auto, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Algona State Farm Insurance agent Billy Offerman, Algona Municipal Utilities, community-owned for community benefit, and Families of Bishop Garrigan sponsoring streaming as Algona starts with the basketball down 35-30. Hilbert in the near corner whips it across the Solbach. She drives, gets past Gouge, puts it up, and it rolls off the back of the rim. Rebound trickles into the hands of Frank, and she'll go the other way. Quick outlet pass up the court, but it goes off of Richardson's hands and out of bounds. Missed opportunity there for 2 for the Cardinals, and Bulldogs get it back here trailing by 5. Well, the Cardinals so far this season are 4-0 against teams with losing records. They are 2-5 against teams with winning records. Algona 4-5 so far this season overall, as a bullet pass down inside to McLaughlin. She catches and she scores. Beautiful find that time by Effrington on the assist. No hesitation, and McLaughlin just got lost down there within that defense. So one possession game once again, 35-32. Right now, leading scorer in this game is Gouge with 12 points for the Cardinals. Hedgelock comes up top to Frank, just at the edge of the logo, goes around Richardson's screen into an elbow jumper, and she buries it. Perfectly executed set that time, as Richardson did a nice job screening everyone off. And when you give Frank that kind of space for a jumper, she will take advantage, making it 37-32. Now Effrington, a bullet pass to the left to Solbach, trying to get down to McLaughlin in the corner. Got knocked out of bounds by the Cardinals, and it'll stay with Algona. There were about 3 out of the 10 players on the court that started heading the opposite way, as they thought that was out of bounds on Algona. But the call is that it will stay with Algona because it was out off of the Cardinals. Effrington looking to trigger it in from the far side. Line drives it up to McLaughlin. Tried to pass it into the corner. Got knocked away briefly by Frank. She runs into Hilbert, and that's going to be a foul. 4th of the half for Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. And just the first of the game for Frank. So Algona will inbound it here from in front of the bench. McLaughlin, Price, Hilbert, Effrington, Solbach on the floor right now as Solbach catches near half court. Bounces it to the left to Effrington. Now back to Solbach. Solbach looking inside. Gets cut off by the defense and goes back to the left to Effrington. Just action back and forth between them up top. Into the near corner to Hilbert. Defense closes quickly on her. Takes one dribble to adjust. Goes all the way across the court dangerously to Effrington. And now a 3-second violation, this time against Algona. That might have been McLaughlin there, hanging out in the paint just a little bit too long. And a big turnover there of 6:24 on the clock. Cardinal basketball is Frank. A 3-year starter handles the basketball and brings it into the front court. Passes it to the right to Hedgelock. Holds the basketball now, comes back to the left to Frank. Cardinals up by 5 here, back to Hedgelock. To the elbow, it goes to Gouge. Coming near side to Allie Hess. Hess penetrating into the lane. She'll float one off the glass and scores it with perfect touch that time. And they'll let Algona bring their substitutions in here. Price and Hilbert go to the bench. Van Otterloo and Perry come in. 39-32 is the Cardinal lead right now. That was a great shot by Hess for her first points of the night, though. As came in at an odd angle, but was able to turn her body towards the basket and get squared up as she shot that. Into the near corner to Van Otterloo for the Bulldogs, then into the lane to Perry. Works to the left, out to Solbach. She'll catch, she'll fire on a 3, but that one hits off the front of the rim and gets knocked into the hands of Richardson for the Cardinals. Richardson averaging about 5 rebounds per game. Comes to the left to Frank. High arcing 3, that one bounces off, but Hess is able to get the long rebound. Those long 3-point attempts often create long rebounds, and sometimes the inside box-out position doesn't always win on those ones. Hess whips it down to the baseline to Gouge. McLaughlin defends. Now towards the right to Hedgelock. Solbach out there quickly. And back up to the top to Frank with 5:13 on the clock. To the right to Hedgelock. Now onto the elbow Gouge. Looking down inside, waiting for someone to cut. And she'll go back onto the left wing to Frank instead. Frank will pass up the screen. Come down into the near corner to Hess. Now get the bounce pass back. She'll angle it towards the center, towards the Bulldog logo. Her pass hits Richardson in the chest and deflects into Solbach. Turnover for the Cardinals. Scoops it to McLaughlin. McLaughlin drives baseline, gets cut off by Gouge. Pumps, and she traveled. McLaughlin wanted to pass that one initially, but pulled it back down when she didn't see anyone open. But she left her feet as she was trying to pass that one, which is why that travel was called. So timeout is called, and we'll keep it right here as it is a 30-second timeout by head coach Matt Frank. 39-32 the lead, 4:47 on the clock. And if you're the Cardinals, the formula here is pretty simple. Just keep doing what you're doing, have long possessions, try to avoid turnovers because they have had a couple here in the fourth quarter, and run the timeout on this Bulldog team trying to steal one away. And for Algona, really you're kind of looking to get those three-point shooters involved again. That has kind of dried up here in the second half. They've gotten a few good looks off, but just have not been able to get those to drop. So we'll try to get the three-pointers established again. There's just not a whole lot going inside. Again, the length of the Cardinals really just clogs that paint area, especially in the zone where everything collapses on you as soon as you get it into the paint. Chloe Frank, 6 feet tall. Liz Richardson, 6 feet tall. Both creating just a lot of traffic in the lane for the Algona players to deal with. So out of the timeout, Cardinal basketball, 4:39 on the clock, and Perry intercepts the pass. She'll take a couple dribbles and give it to Effrington here with 4:32. To the left to Solbach, now back to the right, Effrington. Perry catches in the high post, takes one dribble, comes to the near corner to Van Otterloo, passes up the three, throws a bounce pass into the crowded lane, and that got knocked away and stolen by the Cardinals. Now it's Frank against Effrington, who stays in front, and Frank brings it back to the center of the court. Around the perimeter it goes. Algona has gone off more of a man-to-man type of approach here with 4:07 on the clock. Frank flashes across the foul line, stops, takes a long pivot, and passes it to the right to Krein. Into the far corner to Hedgelick. Hedgelick drives, baseline, gets past McLaughlin. Tried to scoop it into the lane, but Perry just reached out and plucks that ball right out of the air. 3:52 on the clock. McLaughlin, with long strides, gets into the far corner, and she throws it away. Intercepted by Hess. Was bothered by the double team that time as Hess runs, fumbles with the ball, and a foul is going to be called against Algona, resulting in 2 foul shots for the Cardinals. What was a good double team trap of McLaughlin as she tried to turn around and pass out of it, but she did not see Hess, who read her eyes the whole time, intercepted that one, and turned it into a good transition opportunity. First foul called against Tora Solbach. Believe it or not, first of the half for Algona. Although Bulldogs are very adept at defending without fouling, as Hess is able to bury the first foul shot. 40-32 in favor of the Cardinals. Largest lead tonight for the Cardinals has been 10 points, and they are approaching that right now, up by 8 with 3:42 to go. Time not the Bulldogs' friend right now, as Hess drains the foul shot. 41-32. Oh, and they'll take that off the board. They're going to say a lane violation here against the Cardinals. So Algona will catch a break on that one, and they'll still be down by 8. Off the court to Hilbert. Hilbert takes one dribble, passes it back to the left to Effrington. 3:34 now on the clock. Effrington to the left to Solbach, now back to the right, Effrington. Effrington bounces it to Hilbert on the near side, surveying the defense, and Prignitz knocked it away out of bounds. They'll say it was off of her. Hilbert did not touch it last. Prignitz, in addition to her 6 points tonight, has probably been the most active defender here on the Cardinals. You just have to take care of the ball around her at all times. She is not afraid to just throw a quick jab in there with one of her hands to try to knock it away, as she did that time. Hilbert catches with Prignitz defending, now to the left to Solbach. 3:17 on the clock. Back to the right wing, Hilbert. Hilbert fakes to the left. Now we'll go up to the logo to Solbach. 40-32 is the Cardinal lead right now. Solbach catches now to the foul line. Perry out to Effrington. Not a whole lot of room as Effrington's pass gets knocked high in the air by Frank. Foul line to Perry. One bounce and gets it to Hilbert for a catch-and-shoot triple, but that one is well short. Deflects. Perry shovels it back into play, but Prignitz picks it up for the Cardinals. And Prignitz threw up the court, and Richardson wasn't looking for it. Big turnover back the other way. Into the lane, Van Otterloo catches, flips it up, and she got fouled. Well, Van Otterloo will head to the line for 2 shots there, although she may have missed an opportunity for 2 there initially. If she had gone to the left instead of the right, that look was wide open, but the freshman, a little bit more comfortable with the right hand, turned towards the right, and ends up going to the line for 2 anyways here with 2:46 left in this one. And first foul shot bounces off to the left, no good. Score stays 40-32. McLaughlin in, Solbach out for Algona. Van Otterloo will be off the back of the iron on that one as well. It's kept alive, though, as Perry knocked it into Hilbert's hands. Bulldogs have had a very good night offensive rebounding-wise. Have had plenty of second chances here. 2:37 on the clock. Rising for a three-pointers, Effrington. That one bounces off. Perry keeps it alive, trying to create space, puts it up, and she got fouled. Perry and Frank that time were just having an absolute physical battle down there, as that's team foul number 6 against the Cardinals. And credit to the refs for letting them play and letting them both battle it out, because you probably could have called either of them for a foul on that play because they were going at it there with the hands. And Perry misses on the foul shot as well. So that's 3 straight free-throw misses here for Algona over the last 30 seconds of play or so. Cardinals will bring Greta Gouge back into the ball game. Morgan Crine heads to the bench. And Perry will try to salvage a split here and cut the deficit to 7. Perry's off the back iron, and the free-throw struggles continue here for Algona. Normally a decent free-throw shooting team, just under 59.5%, but in the fourth quarter, that has betrayed Algona as Van Otterloo knocks that pass attempt away, and then everyone's going to get tied up here in a foul called against the Bulldogs. Probably get Hilbert on that one, and they will indeed get Hilbert. It was Hilbert and Allie Hess kind of running over each other that time as Hilbert had the upper hand there in committing the foul. Now 2:18 to go. Prignitz in the corner, feeds it to Richardson, gets it quickly to the jump shot. No good, though, off the rim for Gouge. Offensive rebound, gets knocked into the lane. A pass up to Frank of 2:08 on the clock, and she'll let the offense reset here. Well-designed play coming out of the inbounds. Cardinals couldn't quite finish it, but they'll get something even better at this point, and that's running more time off the clock because we're under 2 minutes to go. Foul line to Gouge, kicks it out Prignitz. A wide-open 3, but it's short, and Perry rips down the rebound. Bulldogs have to hurry now, still a free possession game. Up to Van Otterloo, bobbles that ball, tries to penetrate, and a reach-in foul called here against the Cardinals. They'll get Frank once again for her 3rd of the night, and the 7th team foul here against the Cardinals. So that's going to create a 1-and-1 opportunity here for Van Otterloo, who's made quite a few trips to the foul line.
Van Otterloo shooting 1-and-1.
Van Otterloo's first shot on the way, bounces off the rim. That's 5 straight free-throw misses here for the Bulldogs. And for a 40-32 ball game, every point counts. And if you think about making 5 of those, be a 3-point game here. But Bulldogs just have not been able to capitalize on the late free throws. A pass down low to Richardson, who leaks behind the defense and drops it in. 10-point ball game, and now the Bulldogs are facing a 4-possession deficit here. 1:21 to go. Hilbert tries a 3, but it's off the front of the iron. Chasing it down, trying to shovel it into play is Gouge, but she stepped out of bounds as she was doing that. So if 1:16, Algona will keep it here. Again, this is just a young team trying to figure out how to finish out a game as Garner, Hayfield, Ventura will take a timeout. With 1:16 on the clock, it'll be a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. I mean, if you're the Bulldogs, at this point, you don't have a lot of time to work the ball around a whole lot and look for that perfect shot. You may have to settle for a good shot or a decent shot rather than something perfect here, but doesn't necessarily have to be a 3. At this point, again, down by 10. To take the lead, you're going to need 3 3-pointers and 1 2, or you could go with 2 3s and 2 2s in order to tie it. But in any case, that's going to have to happen very, very quickly. And fouling the Cardinals will likely come into play here at some point for Algona. And that is if they're able to get these shots to go. So Perry to trigger to inbounds play. Gets it into Hilbert in the corner. Takes one dribble and gives it back to Perry with 1:13 and rolling here on the clock. Solbach curls around. Solbach splits the defense. Lobs it inside McLaughlin. Too deep to shoot it. Tries to come back around. And it'll be a turnover here for Algona. McLaughlin may have carried that one. Didn't quite see the signal there, but big turnover with 1:04 left to go. Bulldogs will now try some pressure here in the backcourt to force a turnover. Richardson stops before the half-court line, gives it left to Frank, and she'll come across the timeline with 54 seconds to go. Frank works to the right around the screen. She's plenty content here to dribble around and let time tick. She'll turn back around with 46 seconds, flip it to the right, Prignitz, passed up an open 3, got it inside Richardson, and a foul committed by Layla Perry with 43 seconds left to go. Well, if Cardinals are able to hold on to this 10-point lead here over the final 43 seconds, they'll improve to 7-5, and that would be a huge win for this Cardinal team who, like we mentioned, has just battled against some very tough competition. A couple of their wins recently, they beat 7-4 Humboldt and 8-3 Osage as well. Their other 4 wins have come against teams with losing records as the first foul shot's no good for Richardson. But coming up in the second half of the season, the Cardinals still have to face Bishop Garrigan, West Hancock, Forest City, and North Union again, in addition to Clear Lake. All very good teams here in the second half. As Richardson splits the pair, she has 10 points, and it is a 43-32 lead right now. Up the court comes Solbach with 38 seconds to go. 43-32. Cardinal lead. McLaughlin stops. Pump fakes. Gives to Solbach. Solbach trying to come inside. Dumps it to Perry. Now to Hilbert. Takes one dribble. Gets past Frank. And she'll get fouled with 28 seconds to go. So Hilbert will shoot a couple of foul shots here. Might end up being a little bit too little too late for the Bulldogs. As Gouge, with her 12 points, gets called for the foul. Gouge with 12 right now. Frank with 10 for Garner. Hayfield Ventura leading the way. Hilbert with 8 for Algona, and she'll stay right there as that foul shot rattles out. And Bulldogs have just continued to miss foul shots here down the stretch. Second one on the way for Hilbert, and she drains it to break up that scoring shot. That foul shooting slump, I should say, for Algona. And Hilbert now up to 10, I beg your pardon, as she had 9 heading into that one. Van Otterloo right now with 8 for Algona, 24 seconds to go. Frank flips it into the front corner to Hedgelock. Now back to Frank with 20 seconds. Algona might just defend this one out and let the Cardinals run away the time. 43-33 is the edge right now for Garner Hayfield Ventura. As getting it is Frank, and Solbach will foul her here with 9 seconds to go in this one. Cardinals not in the bonus yet, so they'll inbound it here. And if you were going to commit the foul anyways, you probably would have wanted to do that a lot earlier for Algona and force the inbounds play, see if you could force the turnover. But at this point, with 9 seconds left, Cardinals will get it in, and that will wrap things up as the final time will take away. In the backcourt, Frank will come across the timeline, and the final couple seconds pass off the clock, and that is it. Algona fought hard tonight, but they couldn't quite get over the top, losing 43-33 here against the Cardinals. And things dried up in the second half for the Bulldogs as they were held to just 9 points after the half. So 43-33 is the final score. Cardinals improved to 7-5. Bulldogs dropped to 4-6. We'll step aside here for a couple minutes, take a quick timeout, and get a couple words from our sponsors, and come back to wrap this one up, and then get ready for the boys' game next here on Home Country Radio, KLGZ.
With today's technology, there's no reason to wait by the mailbox for bank statements. Just sign up for internet banking and e-statements. This is Sherry at Security State Bank. E-statements reduce the risks of mail fraud and identity theft. Internet banking allows you to check your balances, see checks and deposits that have cleared, transfer funds between accounts, make payments, and say goodbye to paper filing and shredding. Internet banking and e-statements from Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Call PMC Advantage with offices in Algona, Burt, Corwith, Garner, Sway City, and West Bend.
I loved playing high school sports. I loved the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, all the pageantry, and I wanted to keep playing. But I graduated. No colleges called, and neither did the pros. So, to stay close to the game I loved, I decided to become a high school official. You know, a referee. When I played high school sports, I learned the importance of integrity, good sportsmanship, and respect for the rules. Now, as a high school official, I get to help model these same values to others. Maybe the colleges and the pros didn't call, but the kids in Iowa did. And now, I'm enjoying the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, and all the pageantry of high school sports all over again.
Interested in becoming a licensed high school official? Go to highschoolofficials.com to learn more and begin the application process.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Iowa. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Iowa High School Athletic Association and the Iowa High School Athletic Directors Association.
Back here to wrap up game number 1 of our basketball doubleheader here on Home Country Radio and on the Algona Radio YouTube live stream as Algona falls to Garner Hayfield Ventura 43-33. And before we tell you more about that, we'd like to give a big thank you to our streaming sponsors, which include Chemna Auto, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Algona State Farm Insurance Agent Billy Offerman. Algona Municipal Utilities, community-owned for community benefit, and Families of Bishop Garrigan, all sponsoring sports streaming here on Hometown and Home Country Radio's YouTube page. Of course, also a thank you to Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants, for sponsoring our scoreboard. So those are the sponsors, and again, as we wrap up game number 1 of the doubleheader, it was a tough loss for Algona and one that early on it really felt like they had a chance to win. Bulldogs came out of the gate firing on three-pointers. They were very, very hot in that first half, especially Maddie Hilbert, Lillian Effrington, Casey Van Otterloo all got in on the three-point shooting act early on. And the Bulldogs at one point compiled a 31-12, or make that a 21-12 lead in half number 1. But it was very important for the Cardinals. They closed on a 7-0 run to end the first half, and all of a sudden, a Bulldog lead that was up to 9 points was just 2 at the break, and the second half felt dramatically different as a result of that. Then in the second half, Cardinals continued their hot streak, and they opened up on a 12-0 run to begin the half, and the Bulldogs never led again after that. Algona was held to just 12 points in the second half, and after Algona led 21-12, Cardinals went on a 31-12 run for the rest of the ball game. So with the win, Cardinals improved to 7-5. Algona drops to 4-6. As they will not be able to get wins on back-to-back nights after beating St. Edmund yesterday, but still competed quite well. I mean, this is a solid Garner Hayfield Ventura team, and we talked in the pregame about how their 5 losses all came against state-ranked teams, and very good ones at that. You look at a 22-point loss against Newell Fonda, a 4-point loss against Forest City, 5-point loss to West Hancock, 40-point loss to Bishop Garrigan, and 18-point loss last night to North Union. Those are the 5 games that Garner Hayfield Ventura has lost. So again, all state-ranked teams and a couple of very close matchups in there. So they're certainly a team that looked to be better than their 6-5 record would indicate. And they took care of business here tonight, winning on the road against Algona. And that's a mark of a good team as well. You know, you lose a discouraging game against North Union, and you come back the very next day and take care of business on the road in a hostile environment. As we take a look at some scoring leaders for this game, for Garner Hayfield Ventura, it was 12 points from Liz Richardson. Greta Gouch had 12. It was Chloe Frank with 10. Those were the 2 leading scorers for the Cardinals. For Algona, Maddie Hilbert had 10 to lead the way, and Casey Van Otterloo had 8. Again, Bulldogs started very, very well in the three-point shooting, but that got shut off a little bit in the second half. I think the Cardinals started to be a little bit more cognizant of where Hilbert and Effrington were at all times, and even though they got a few good three-point looks, most of them were not from Hilbert and Effrington, who are really the 2 preferential shooters you want taking those threes. So Bulldogs couldn't get the offense on track in the second half, and they will move ahead to next week and try to get back on track when they get into the North Central Conference schedule. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for game number 1 of our doubleheader. 43-33 is the final score. And to get you ready for game number 2, as it's another Algona versus Garner Hayfield Ventura matchup with the boys game on tap coming up next. Earlier today, I got a chance to talk with Coach Jared Cecil at Breakfast with the Coaches, our weekly show on Saturday mornings where we talk with all the area coaches about the progress of the basketball season. And Coach Cecil and I talked about today's upcoming game as well as their win yesterday against St. Edmund. Coach, let's start with last night's game. You picked up a key win over St. Edmund in your first game coming out of the break, so just take me through that victory and what you saw from the team.
The best part probably of the game in its entirety is seeing things we worked on over break play out on the court, and that's what every coach wants and every coach expects, and it doesn't always happen. So, in the start of the night, JV played also, and you got to watch watch our JV guys and our varsity guys, again, take a lot of those things that we talked about, worked on, drilled hard in over break practices, and just put it together. So guys played together a lot better than they have all year, and that's something, the mental growth of the game that we've talked about over break and worked on also showed on the court last night.
And, Coach, what were some of those key things that you wanted to see from your team that did come through last night?
Absolutely. It's some of those things we've talked about earlier of that defensive pressure. Guys doing a much better job of stopping that dribble drive or even the cut to the hoop. Defensive rotation, way different last night than it has been, pre-Christmas break. And then guys adjusted really well to that. Communication, a huge part of their success last night. Guys talking to each other all the time, which is so fun to watch and watch them play in sync together. I would say also offensively, shot selection continues to improve, right? And all of those, we talk about a lot of things, we work on a lot of things, but all of those things are some mental aspects of the game and just getting our heads in the right spot and knowing why we're playing. And, can't say enough about how the guys have played together, how much they've worked together. Over break, first part of the season there were some eye openers for a few guys, so that plays out as well. And like I said, we got to see them play together last night, and that was really fun.
And leading scorer in last night's game was Garrett Goshi as he finished with 24 points for the Bulldogs. And, Coach, just how have you seen him develop into that leading scorer role, not just this season, but over the years as well?
Yeah, Garrett's always been a really solid scorer. One of his great attributes, he shoots on balance all the time. His feet are under him. He's set. He's a good role model for other guys to follow. He's also strong, right? He puts a lot of time in the weight room. We had a couple times last night with a guy hanging on him, and he still gets the ball up off the glass at close range and is able to get through that. He's a hard worker. Part of those points, I think he ended up with 12 rebounds last night also. So, he does himself a favor by getting in there, getting after it, and coming up with the ball. So, really solid player, really fundamentally solid on the offensive end.
And, Coach, I know you can't necessarily pour too much into just one game, but, coming out of the break, the first half didn't quite go the right way that you wanted it to for all the games prior to winter break. So just how important was it to flush that and then get that huge win to start the second half?
Well, we know that, that's really big. And every time you have a stretch of practices, things look better, things feel better, right? And then you got to put it to the test. And so however that comes out, at halftime, we were still really happy with a lot of things we were seeing. We had to make some adjustments, and the kids made an adjustment, made it very well. We'd given up too many paint shots in the first half. The second half, both the third quarter and the fourth quarter, we held them to two-point field goals in each quarter, right? So that's a tremendous effort and a tremendous focus of everybody involved going and doing their job so that they weren't shooting where they had been the first half. So can't say enough again about their mental growth and their coming together. Like I said, come out of locker room at halftime, down 4, based on where we've been previous in the season, right? This can, we got options of how this is going to look, and the kids certainly with a purpose, and again a purpose together. Not a one-man show, not a two-player game that we're going to work on, but 5 guys on the floor and everybody else on the bench all in all the time. So really good growth in that as well, and great to get that first win out of the break.
And, Coach, we'll get right back to it today. The game against Garner, Hayfield, Ventura this afternoon. Now, Saturday games are always interesting. It's a little bit different than your Tuesday, Friday conference grind of the schedule. So how do you make sure the guys come out with energy and intensity to start the game today?
Well, again, when we get back to, our mental conversations, that's the challenge for them today. Last night's a Friday night. Everybody's back in school. The band filled half the lower section and was rocking last night. Good student section, good fan base last night, loud gym, fun atmosphere, and go. Today we're going to have to create a little of our own enthusiasm, right? It's a Saturday afternoon, and the band won't be there, and we won't have as many people. We know that, but that's a challenge in growth, right? That's a challenge all the time for young guys to put that in their mind of today's game needs the same energy on the court. We'll remind them things. They bring that same energy every day to practice. We don't have a fan in the crowd at practice, so they're able to bring that energy, and they should be feeling good about what they put on the court last night. And the only way you get to greatness is to repeat that over and over. So that's their challenge today.
And as you look at the Cardinals, what stands out about Garner, Hayfield, Ventura?
very, very athletic team, very physical team, and a well-coached team. So we'll have our hands full today, but another great test as we get back into the second part of the season.
All right, Coach, as we wrap up here, what do you feel is the biggest key for a Bulldog victory today?
I think consistency in the things we're improving in is a big key. Anytime you're working on some new skill or fine-tuning a skill, you can get it once in a while, isn't going to cut it, right? It's got to be every time. And that's a lot of our work over break. Again, just fundamentally sound. Get back to some of those and just be fundamentally sound. Each possession, there's some that aren't going to go the right way, then the next possession has to be. So consistency will be key today.
All right, Coach, well, we're looking forward to seeing the game. Thanks for joining this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Sports Club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Kasuth Regional Health Center. Make KRHC your home for healthcare.
North Iowa Appliance, Highway 18 East, Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country on Highway 18 West, Algona.
Greg Penning and Company, LLC, your tax service professionals in Algona and Bancroft, where everyone counts.
Yemlin Builders and Quality Apartments for Rent. Beauty and craftsmanship that will never go out of style.
Albert Electric. Flip the switch to Albert Electric. Call Neil at 320-0305.
Iowa Lakes Community College. Your community, your college.
Feed Mill Coffee Company in downtown Algona, where community connects.
All sponsors of this broadcast.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa bone, joint, and sports surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
Sports Club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Kasuth Regional Health Center. Make KRHC your home for healthcare.
North Iowa Appliance, Highway 18 East, Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country on Highway 18 West, Algona.
Greg Penning and Company, LLC, your tax service professionals in Algona and Bancroft, where everyone counts.
Yemlin Builders and Quality Apartments for Rent. Beauty and craftsmanship that will never go out of style.
Albert Electric. Flip the switch to Albert Electric. Call Neil at 320-0305.
Iowa Lakes Community College. Your community, your college.
Feed Mill Coffee Company in downtown Algona, where community connects.
All sponsors of this broadcast.
New Way K&H Cooperative is a diversified partner to you and your community, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation. They serve farmers, non-farm consumers, and commercial businesses by offering quality products and services to match each individual customer's needs. At New Way K&H Cooperative, their customers are their #1 priority. Contact them today by calling 1-800-445-4118 to find out how they can put their ingenuity to work for you.
After a rocky start to the basketball season, the Algona boys are back on track after winning last night against St. Edmund, but they'll have a tough test tonight for the Garner, Hayfield, Ventura Cardinals coming to town. Tyler Lance with you here on Home Country Radio, KLGZ, and on the Algona Radio YouTube stream, and welcome to all of you just tuning in. First, we'd like to give a big thank you to our sponsors here, sponsoring this stream, Kemna Auto, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Algona State Farm Insurance Agent Billy Offerman, Algona Municipal Utilities, community-owned for community benefit, and Families of Bishop Garrigan, all sponsoring sports streaming here on the Algona Radio YouTube page. Also a big thank you to Greg Penning and Company, Certified Public Accountants, as they are sponsoring the scoreboard that you'll see soon here on our graphic. As you look at tonight's matchup, it brings in the 4-5 Bulldogs against the 7-3 Cardinals. North Central Conference against the top of Iowa West as far as this matchup goes. And we'll look at the starters here before we get into some of the more specific parts of this matchup. For the Cardinals, we'll have the senior Sam Wood, senior Nathan Roberts, junior Braden Benke, junior Drew Britson, and senior Evan Sloan. For Algona, they'll bring out their typical starting five with Jackson Cecil, Simon Feicht, Garrett Goshi, Caden Weber, and Tyler Mansky. So that's how the Bulldogs line up here tonight, and the Cardinals as well. And certainly the player to watch here tonight on the Cardinal side of things is Drew Britson. Britson's averaging 16.6 points per game. He's a great three-point shooter as well, and a good distributor, leading the team in terms of assists. And this season for Algona, they've allowed 4 players to score 27 or more points against them, and they'll have to guard Britson very, very closely to avoid him doing the same thing. Meanwhile, on the Algona side of things, we're watching Garrett Goshi tonight, as Goshi came off a huge game against St. Edmund last night. 24 points to lead the way for Algona. That was a huge, huge part of that victory, and it was a game that saw Algona trailing at halftime. And again, first half of the season didn't quite go the way you wanted it to. Defensively, there were a few issues for Algona. Then all of a sudden, your first game coming out of winter break, you're trailing at halftime against St. Edmund, and that was really an inflection point for the team. How were they going to respond coming out of the half? But as Coach Cecil talked about during his pregame interview, they did respond, and in the second half, they were able to take that win here at home last night, defeating the Gales. So big, big moment there for the Bulldogs to improve to 4-5 and also pick up their first North Central Conference win. Algona had lost the first 4 conference games of the season before winning last night. And again, obviously tonight, not for conference standings, but still a great test as these two teams match up annually. If we look at last year's matchup between these two schools, well, it was a matchup that was very, very close. Algona ended up winning 54-55 over these Cardinals, and they rallied from down 7 in the fourth quarter. And certainly, we can only hope today's game will match the intensity of that one of the most exciting games of the season for Algona. And last year was a season that saw Algona play in many, many close games, as 15 out of their 23 contests were decided by 10 points or less. They were 10-5 in those games. Starters are being introduced right now on the court, as Algona will wear their home white uniforms here, red lettering, and the red stripes down the side as well. For Garner, Hayfield, Ventura, it's the road black uniforms. They have the white trim, red lettering, and numbering for the Cardinals. Now, if you look at who the Cardinals are bringing out on the court, 4 of their 5 starters look like they are just copied and pasted, because, I mean, really, they have guys that are really almost exactly the same size. All of their starters are between 6 foot and 6'3" tall. The only guy who stands out a little bit is Evan Sloan. He is a little bit more of a strong type of build, and he'll be asked to command a lot of rebounds tonight for the Cardinals. So teams will have their final discussion here before we get started. Algona in that pregame huddle looking for their second win in a row and trying to continue the right start to the second half of the season and improve their record here to 500, but won't be easy against the Cardinals. Again, coming in at 7-3 on the season, 7-1 in top of Iowa West play, and all of the Cardinal losses so far this year have come against very, very strong opponents. So interesting matchup getting set here for tonight. At midcourt, Nathan Roberts along with Jackson Cecil for Algona as Cecil wins the tip. Algona heading right to left on your radio dial. Goshi's down in the far corner for the Bulldogs. They go to the right wing to Feicht. Feicht drives down the center of the lane, jump stops, bumps, and his shot's off the back of the iron. It gets back tapped, and Wood will pick it up for the Cardinals. Wood will bring it across the Bulldog logo with a dribble between the legs. These will be 2 highly contrasting styles of offense here tonight, as Garner, Hayfield, Ventura just loves to grind out the games, make them ugly and defensive, and they are thriving in that style so far this season. To the left, 3-pointer for Braden Benke, and he drains it. Benke starts this one off and gives the Cardinals a 3-0 early lead. Quick pass up the court for Feicht, and he is rejected. Sloan got in there that time for the block, and now Cardinals will inject a little bit of pace. It's Britson spinning into the lane, waiting for someone to cut to the basket, and he'll pass it out to Braden Benke. But a 3-second violation is going to be called against the Cardinals. They are going to get Britson on that one, so early turnover here for Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. So we talked about their style of play. Again, very patient on offense, slow the game down, that style. Algona, a player that relies a little bit more on the athleticism. You look at a football player like Tyler Mansky, who translates extremely well over the basketball court. Garrett Goshi as well, an extremely athletic player for Algona with his 24 points last night. And Algona will try to increase the pace and play quickly here tonight. So that'll be interesting to watch as Goshi catches the pass from Mansky and airballs on his first 3 of the night as it goes out of bounds, giving the ball back to the Cardinals. Well, Goshi and Mansky so far this season for Algona are both averaging over 18 points a game, and it has been a very clear 1-2 punch so far this season for the Bulldogs, which is certainly to be expected after no one who played in more than 6 games besides Mansky and Goshi returned. A far corner triple is airballed, but the follow is up, and it is good for Evan Sloan. Sloan averaging just under 6 rebounds per game as Benke missed on that 3. Mansky trying to pivot. Staying in front of him is Roberts. Passing it out to Cecil. Cecil stops, picks up his dribble at the foul line, and flips it top of the key to Goshi. Drives right, gets past Benke, bumps into Sloan, goes through the contact and scores it. Algona on the board, and it's 5-2 right now in favor of Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. Cardinals this season are averaging just under 54 points per game. Algona is allowing 68.2. Well, that's improved a little bit as of late. A pass to the cutting Britson, puts it high off the window, but a little bit too high as Goshi comes down with the rebound. Up the court comes Mansky. Mansky weaving across the foul line, spins to the center of the lane, rises for a jumper, but line drives it off the rim. And Roberts, the team's leading rebounder, has another board. Roberts up near midcourt. Had a double-double in last night's win over North Union as the Cardinals took care of business in that one. Curling around is Britson, stopping for a foul line jumper, and he'll airball it. That one goes out of bounds as there might be a breeze in the building so far tonight as we've seen air balls from both sides here to begin this game. But in that game yesterday, Cardinals beat North Union 55-37. They shot 47% from the field and made a third of their three-pointers. As there's a bounce pass to the elbow to Feicht. Feicht turns around, now tries to back his way into the lane. Passing it to a wide-open Cecil. He'll lay it up, but he missed it at the rim. Getting the rebound to Sam Wood, and a foul against Algona. Oh, Bulldogs did everything right that time besides finish the play. As Feicht backed up, drew the double team, he spun, and Cecil cut through the weak side and had a good open look that time, but just could not quite finish at the rim. Score stays 5-2. Britson gets the basketball, dribbles around Sloan, stops the Bulldog logo, and brings it across the timeline. Angles towards the near side of the court. Now flips it down right beneath us to Sam Wood. Holds the basketball above his head away from Cecil. Now top of the key, Sloan. Around to the left to Britson. Britson back to the top of the key to Benke. He'll rise for another three-pointer, and he'll hit that one as well. Benke with 2 made threes and 1 air ball so far tonight. He's up to 6 points, and it's an 8-2 lead for the Cardinals. Exactly how they wanted to start, and just what Algona wanted to avoid. These early game situations have been tough as Cecil rises for 3, misses off to the right, but Caden Weber rebounds, bumps, turns around for a jumper, and he's able to knock it through. Boy, that one had Sloan just fading away from Weber, and he was wide open on that jumper to make it 8-4. Good move there as stopping for a mid-range jumper, having it roll around the rim but drop in is Britson. Boy, Britson just stopped at the extended part of the foul line. Looked like that one was going to bounce out, but got the friendly hop, and it's 10-4 in favor of the Cardinals. Goshi to the left to Mansky. Bounce pass to the high post to Feicht. Turns at a 90-degree angle and goes to the right wing to Goshi, and Goshi shuffled the shoes and travels. Got going there before he started his dribble, and we'll see our first substitutions of the night as Feicht and Cecil head to the bench. Alex Mansky comes in along with Tristan Larson. For the Cardinals, they'll bring the sophomore Mason Graham into the ball game. And Graham, inbounds pass there, chased down in the backcourt. Cardinals very nearly turned it over there with Britson. Graham is replacing Sam Wood on the floor right now. 3:44 on the clock, first quarter, and a push going to be called against Algona. That'll be their second foul of the quarter, first on Garrett Goshi. So to inbound it here, it's going to be Benke, and he'll get it into the backcourt to Britson. Britson, again, 16.6 points per game, one of the top scorers over in the top of Iowa West Conference. As curling around the three-point line is Benke. Into the near corner, Graham. He rises for a triple. It's off the back of the iron, but Benke gets the long rebound. Back out to Graham. Graham weaving towards the lane, picking up his dribble. Gets to the cutting Sloan. He floats. It's off the side of the iron, and Alex Mansky chases down the rebound. Quick out up the court to Weber in the far corner. Now top of the key, Goshi has a good look from 3. Takes it and drains it. 10-7, Algona down by 3 as Garrett Goshi has 5 points out of the Algona 7. And now a miscommunication by the Cardinals as they throw it out of bounds. No pressure in the backcourt that time for Algona, just not paying super close attention there for Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. Cardinals averaging just over 13 turnovers per game this season as Mansky gets it in the corner. He rises for three, but he line drives it off the side of the rim. Mansky's three-point shooting has been much improved this season as he's hovered around the 40-point mark as Britson shoots a pull-up three from the top of the key. Rebound pops off of Sloan's leg and rolls to Tyler Mansky. Mansky tries to go coast to coast. A nice sidestep into the lane, lays it in, and he gets fouled. Oh, man, that was a football cut right there from Tyler Mansky as Drew Britson tried to get in front of him, and then all of a sudden he was defending nothing but air as Mansky just hit that hard cut, got into the lane, and laid it in to make it 10-9. Timeout is called here before the foul shot is attempted, and we'll keep it right here as it's a 30-second timeout. It's head coach Jake Young for Garner Hayfield Ventura, and he has the team playing very well right now, like we mentioned. They're second in the top of Iowa West, and the only team they're looking up at is 10-0 Lake Mills. And if you take a look at the three losses Garner Hayfield Ventura's had this season, again, it was a loss against Lake Mills where the Bulldogs were able to win pretty definitively. Cardinals have also lost against 8-2 Osage and 8-0 Humboldt by 4 points and 1 point respectively. So they've been pretty much in every game besides that Lake Mills game. And really it was very recently they lost to Humboldt. Final score in that one was 47-46, which just goes to show you how well the Cardinals can play defense. I mean, Algona saw Humboldt earlier this season, and they ended up with 89 points. Humboldt's an extremely athletic team, and that's why they're undefeated and currently tied for first in the North Central Conference with Clarion Goldfield Dows. Mansky drains the foul shot, and we are all tied up at 10. 2:45 to go in this first period. Britson with Mansky guarding him. Dribbles between the legs, heads towards the right, passes it behind him to Roberts. Roberts heads down the lane. Offensive foul. Tristan Larson absorbed the contact from the big man Nathan Roberts. That probably didn't feel particularly good, but Larson takes one for the team, and Algona gets the basketball back. Second foul for Roberts, so he'll head to the bench, and the junior Banky will come in and replace him. Well, Banky's hit a couple three-pointers so far tonight. 76% of his shot attempts this season are coming from three-point range as Goshi comes to the left to Larson. Larson holds the ball out on the wing and takes a couple dribbles to the right into the high post to Mansky. Alex Mansky hands it off to Tyler Mansky, who curled around. Now underhand scoop to Weber of 219. Back into the high post, Alex Mansky. He jumps inside and he traveled. Tried to take a huge step that time, and I think as he landed, didn't land with both feet at the same time, and that's why they called it. So Cardinals get the basketball back as Drew Britson comes up the near side of the court with 2:12 on the clock. Britson will head straight down the lane. He'll stop as he gets cut off by Goshi. Now out to Johnson. Johnson down the lane, and he's going to get bumped and sandwiched in between Larson and Mansky that time. Or excuse me, that was Graham. I beg your pardon. So Graham will head to the free throw line here. That'll be the first of the ball game for Tristan Larson. Third foul on Algona, as Graham, the top bench scorer on this Cardinal team, misses off to the right on the first foul shot. Cardinals don't have a particularly deep bench this season, as Graham is the only bench player who has appeared in every game so far for the Cardinals. Everyone else has sat out at least a couple games. They really rely on their starting lineup to play a ton of minutes. Graham spins the second foul shot up, and he splits the pair to make it 11-10. Cardinals back in front. Goshi gets the inbound from Mansky, and he'll jog it into the front court up the far side. Guarded by Britson. Goshi surveys the defense as we're down to 1:56 to go on the clock. A pass towards the near side of the court, now down into the corner to Alex Mansky. On the court right now is Landon Welp for Algona as well, who just checked in recently. At the foul line, getting the ball is Ben Helmers into the lane. Rises up for the shot, misses way off to the left. And bringing down the rebound is Evan Sloan with 1:38 on the clock. Back the other way is Banky for the Cardinals. Flashes across the foul line, comes into the near corner to Britson. Drives, gets met by a double team. Passes to the cutting Sloan. He's in the lane, has a ton of traffic, and he traveled. Sloan was swinging the ball around desperately, looking for someone to pass it to and trying to pivot as well. But the referees so far tonight have called the travel both ways, and they've called it fairly frequently so far in this quarter. So players are going to have to be very mindful of that going forward. 1:21 now. Goshi angles towards the far side of the court. A bounce pass to Welp in the far corner. Drives baseline, gets past Wood. Quick rotation around the perimeter to Goshi. He pump fakes, gets past Britson. He takes a hard bump, and the foul is going to be called against Evan Sloan. Sloan a little bit upset right now as he got called for that travel on the last possession. Then on this possession gets called for the blocking foul, which will be his first. And Garrett Goshi going to the line. Goshi, arguably the best foul shooter on this Algona team, has been well north of that 80% mark this season. as his first one's off the back of the iron right on cue, and the score stays 11-10. Algona so far this season is 11th of the 64 Class 3A teams in offense, but again, it's been the defense that's been the issue, as they're 62nd of the 64 teams in defense, but they're having a good defensive quarter so far with an 11-11 tie here in the first. Up the near side is Britson. Britson to the foul line, tries to turn around, staying close to him though as well, and now the pass is intercepted. Helmers comes the other way, held that ball out dangerously, and it got knocked out of bounds by Banky. Helmers was dribbling that one very, very far away from his body, and that allowed the poke away with 55 seconds to go. Algona inbounds in front of the Cardinal bench. A bounce into Tyler Mansky. Goshi gets it coming off the handoff. Goshi goes to the bucket, and he traveled. Goshi, an unhappy look towards the referee that time, but again, they've been calling travels all around so far here tonight. You're going to have to be very, very precise if you're a player, as Goshi knocks away the inbounds pass, and it'll stay with the Cardinals as it goes out of bounds. A little full court pressure here from Algona. From the baseline, it's Sloan. Gets it into Wood with 51 seconds and ticking. Wood avoids Mansky and comes into the front court. Flips it near side on the wing to Britson. Goshi defends. That's an interesting matchup. Across the paint, and a bounce pass goes behind Banky and out of bounds. Britson thought that Banky was going to cut towards the basket. Banky was fading into the far corner, and that pass results in a turnover. Last time these two teams matched up, Algona had a 22-8 edge in the turnovers, and it could trend that way here tonight. A flip onto the left wing to Alex Mansky. 28 seconds to go in the quarter. Now down in the near corner to Tristan Larson. Back on the wing to Goshi, guarded by Britson. Holds the ball in his right hand, cradles it, dribbles around the screen. Off the screen comes Helmers, goes to the bucket and lays it in. Helmers did a great job rolling after he set that screen. Both players went towards Goshi, and that left Helmers on an island by himself. Now Britson spins the other way, gets to the bucket with that nice move and lays it in to tie it at 13. 4 seconds to go in the quarter. Goshi stops, elbow jumper, off the back of the iron at the horn, and that brings an end to quarter number one. 13-13 tie, Algona and Garner Hayfield Ventura here on Home Country Radio, KLGZ.
With today's technology, there's no reason to wait by the mailbox for bank statements. Just sign up for internet banking and e-statements. This is Sherry at Security State Bank. E-statements reduce the risks of mail fraud and identity theft. Internet banking allows you to check your balances, see checks and deposits that have cleared, transfer funds between accounts, make payments, and say goodbye to paper filing and shredding. Internet banking and e-statements from Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
With over a decade of experience, Jake Ingalls Electric is here to handle any electrical job you could possibly have. From anything agricultural related to complex commercial wiring to something simple like installing a new outlet in your home, Jake Ingalls Electric does it all. Have your wiring done right and call Jake at 515-320-4286. Jake Ingalls Electric, shockingly good service.
Algona 13, Garner Hayfield Ventura 13 as we begin the second quarter. And starting with the basketball, it will be the Cardinals heading from left to right on your radio dial. They flip it into the backcourt to Banky, and we roll here in quarter number two. Leading the way with 6 points, it is Banky. Top scorer from either team so far in this one. Britson on the near side, guarded by Cecil for Algona. Into the lane, a kick out to Banky. Far corner, rises for three, but it comes up short, and Tyler Mansky rebounds. It's the two Manskys, Helmers, Feicht, and Cecil for Algona. Feicht catches in the far corner, pump fakes the three, drives the baseline, gets cut off by a double team. A kick out back into the far corner to Helmers. That one rattles out, but Tyler Mansky rebounds. Goes back up with it, no. Alex Mansky tries to tip it, but it goes into the hands of Sloan. Well, that was a good-looking shot attempt for Helmers that time, and he did a nice job of filling the area on the offense. Britson drives, skips it into the far corner as Roberts comes in, kicks it out to Wood, and his three-pointer is off the mark to the right, but Sloan offensive rebound. Roberts now goes back up top to Banky. And just to finish up that point, after Feicht drived, Helmers immediately went to the area of the court that Feicht had vacated, and that's how he got that good open shot attempt. As we're 1 minute into this second quarter, Britson tries a three. That's off the back of the iron. And Helmers and Mansky fight for the rebound, and Helmers ends up getting to it. Friendly fire right there as Tyler Mansky's in the far corner. Tyler Mansky drives, spins, creates space against Britson, comes up short on the jumper, gets it back. Another 180-degree turnaround, but he can't get that one to fall either. And the Cardinals rebound of Britson. Britson, almost a 39% three-point shooter, but they get it inside to Sloan. Sloan trying to bang his way through Cecil, puts it up and he scores it. Great physical play that time from Evan Sloan, and it's 15-13 in favor of the Cardinals. Tyler Mansky heads towards the baseline, turns around and gets it to Helmers just right of center. Helmers now guarded by Britson as Goshi's on the bench right now. Back to the top of the key, Alex Mansky starts to drive right, kicks it to Tyler Mansky. Tyler Mansky drives, flips it to the near side to Cecil. Cecil heads towards the center of the court. Now back to the far side, Mansky. 6:02 on the clock. Tyler Mansky tries to weave in between defenders. Ball got poked out right to Fikes. He'll rise for a three. Front of the iron, no. Alex Mansky rebounds, and a foul is going to be called here against Alex Mansky. Good call that time as Mansky kind of lowered the shoulder into the body of Sloan. And that'll be Alex Mansky's first of the night. 4th one against Algona here. So Alex Mansky and Ben Helmers go to the bench. Caden Weber's back in. Garrett Goshi as well for Algona. Algona this season scoring about 65 points a game. That's exactly what they had last night against St. Edmund. As Sam Wood stops at the elbow. Guarded by Goshi, flips it back to the near side to Graham. Graham drives, hesitates, he's blocked, but a foul. Oh, nice job of Graham using the jump stop as Cecil was on one hip, Fike was on the other hip, and they both kind of blew by him, and on the reach back, Cecil ends up getting called for the foul.
15 foul.
So Graham, the top threat off the bench for the Cardinals, will swish that first foul shot. Cardinals so far this season, like we mentioned, have been built on the defense. They are 8th out of 96 teams in Class 2A in terms of defense. They are middle of the pack, 52nd out of 96 in offense. Foul shot rims out, Tyler Mansky rebounds, and a lane violation is going to be called here against Algona. I believe they'll say it was Fiked who was in there a little bit early, so that's going to create another opportunity here for Graham at the charity stripe. Cardinals already leading it here by 3. Spins the shot up, and he'll take advantage of his second opportunity and swish it, making it 17-13. 3 points right now for Graham. Goshi, a between-the-legs dribble, shovels to Mansky on the right wing. Tyler Mansky spins, passes it top of the key to Weber. Now to the left, Cecil. Cecil across the foul line, spins towards the bucket, hesitates, puts it up, and that one is way off target. That hesitation was probably what killed him there. It looked like he had a decent looking shot initially, but defense was able to catch up as Sloan works his way into the lane, goes to the right hand but left it short, and Fike rips down the rebound of 5:09 on the clock. Up the court, Goshi. Goshi flips it to Cecil up top. Cecil stops near the elbow, now up top Mansky. He'll rise for a contested three, and that one rattles out no good. Took a peek inside, but couldn't quite get it to drop with 4:54 on the clock. Score stays 17-13, and this game so far has been a Garner, Hayfield, Ventura style of game. Defense and grinding it out on the offensive side of things. Banky across the foul line, pumps once, and then passes that out of bounds. I think Banky wanted a earlier cut that time from Roberts along the baseline, but had to wait for him and then ended up getting impatient and throwing it away. So that'll be a turnover, giving it back to Algona here. 17-13, the Cardinal lead right now. Bulldogs on a little bit of a scoring drought as it's been 3.5 minutes here to start the quarter with no points. A flip to the near side, Larson now down on the baseline, Fikes trying to create some space, and he stepped out of bounds. Nice job there by Nathan Roberts, not giving up the baseline, and Coach Cecil will take a timeout here, not liking what he's seeing from his offense. We'll take it with him back in 60 seconds here on Home Country Radio, KLGZ.
More Sports Club members making these broadcasts possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Catholic Charities, offering professional counseling services to families and individuals of all faiths. Learn more at cafchar.com.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush always beats a full house.
Grassmasters, get tips and advice from their lawn care professionals. Grassmasters, growing satisfied customers.
American Glass, for all your glass needs. Think American.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, serving Algona, Sway City, and the surrounding areas for chiropractic, massage, nutritional care, and physical therapy services.
Dr. Bill Stroman, giving you something to smile about.
Jake Ingalls Electric. For shockingly good service, call 320-4286.
CB Grain Solutions, satisfaction guaranteed.
All bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Garner, Hayfield, Ventura 17, Algona 13 here on Home Country Radio and on the Algona Radio YouTube live stream as it's Cardinal basketball, 4:23 on the clock here in the second quarter. Algona has won the last two matchups between these two teams, as this is pretty much an annual non-conference matchup. With the ball, it's Roberts. Roberts in the center of the court, guarded by Mansky. Back to the left to Britson. A big positive for Algona. Britson's had a relatively quiet night with just 4 points so far, as he'll shoot a jumper from the lane, and right on cue, he'll bank it in. Goshi tried to stay with him, but that fadeaway created just enough space there to make it 19-13 in favor of the Cardinals. Neither team's had a double-digit lead yet, as Weber is on the far side of the court. One dribble and then flips it back near side to Goshi. Goshi will pump. He'll fire a three. It's off the front of the rim, and a nice box out that time by Sloan to get the rebound. He walled off Weber as Britson comes the other way with a behind-the-back dribble. A step-back jumper from the foul line, and he swishes it. Oh, it was just that subtle movement from Drew Britson. Got Tyler Mansky to back off a little bit, and he was able to bury it. Just great footwork that time out of the junior. A flip to the far side of the court to Larson. Now a bullet inside to Mansky. Top of the key, Weber. He'll try a three, and that one's off the front of the rim, but Larson chases down the board. Larson whips it back out to Goshi, and he'll let everything reset here for a second. Far side of the court, Larson. Sidearm pass up top to Weber. Now near side, Goshi in the corner. Guarded by Roberts. Now sees a double team. Tries to maneuver away from it and is able to get it to Weber as we tick under 3 minutes to go in the half. Larson tried to fake a pass inside, and then he double dribbled. Wanted to throw that one initially, and that's where a lot of travels and double dribbles happen, where you initially want to throw the pass, and then mid-pass you decide not to throw it anymore, and I think that's what happened there with Larson. So Cardinals up 21-13, 2:54 to go in this half, and Algona's been in so many shootouts this season, it's almost jarring to see such a defensive game like this one, but that's what we have right now, as the Cardinals are controlling the pace and keeping it controlled. Up inside to Graham, and from the lane, he's able to lay it in, making it 23-13. Algona wants another timeout here of 2:39 on the clock as Coach Cecil takes it. They're burning through their timeouts here, and it'll be a 30-second timeout, so we will keep it right here. Well, we've talked all season about how long how tough the schedule is, that is, in the North Central Conference. And, well, if you look at it, this is a non-conference game, and North Central Conference teams, so not just Algona, but every North Central Conference team, they are a combined 26-3 in non-conference games. Think about that for a second. You look at all the teams in the conference, 26-3 in non-conference games. So losses by a North Central team against a non-North Central team have been very, very rare so far this season, but it could happen here tonight with Garner, Hayfield, Ventura leading Algona by 10 right now. Goshi walks it across the Bulldog logo, sees the double team, and then passes it to the right to Welp, who just checked in the corner to Larson. He'll rise for a triple, and he'll drain it. Maybe that'll wake up the Bulldog offense a little bit, as it's back down to a 7-point game. Larson with his first triple of the night. 2:18 on the clock. Britson on the left wing. Looking for Sloan. Larson's fronting him, so he denies the basketball. Now bounce down to the baseline to Roberts. Roberts curls into the lane. A left-handed hook, and he drops it right through. Beautiful move that time from Nathan Roberts, who's coming off the double-double last night. Now down to 2 minutes, and a 25-16 in favor of the Cardinals. For the Bulldogs on the near side, it's Helmers. Helmers guarded closely by Wood. Sees the double team, pivots right through it, and fires far side to Larson. He'll try another three. That one's off the back of the iron, and the long rebound goes to the foul line to Wood. Up the court comes Britson. He'll stop. He'll float over the top of Larson and drop it right through. 27-16, and all of a sudden, Drew Britson starting to find his touch. Bad news for Algona as the Cardinals have their largest lead. Fikes on the baseline. Now out to Helmers. 1:28 to go in the half. Helmers picks up his dribble. He gets double teamed. Wood tries to rip it out of his hand, but that's going to be called for a foul. Wood wanted the jump ball that time, but that'll be a break for Algona. Bulldogs will get ready to sub the two Manskys in. And they'll take Welp and Fiked out of the game here. Neither team in danger of being in the bonus here. Not yet anyways, with Algona having 5 fouls and the Cardinals having 4. Bounce pass into Tyler Mansky, and we roll here under 1:20 to go in the half. Up to the top to Garrett Goshi. Fought about 3 against Britson. He stays close in Goshi's airspace, though, so he'll pass it right to Larson. Larson to the left around the perimeter, now to Goshi. Goshi across the foul line, into the lane, to the basket. Basket, there we go, and he scores. 27-18, Words are hard. We're down to 1 minute to go in the half. Britson comes up to the near side of the court. Guarded by Garrett Goshi. Now passing it to the left to Banky. Banky drives to the baseline. Sloan now back out to Britson. He'll try a wide open three-pointer, but left it way short. It goes right into the hands of Sloan. His follow is short, and Mansky picks up the rebound. Algona dodged 2 wide open bullets that time. Goshi up top. Goshi spins, almost lost the basketball, and picks it back up to the baseline to Helmers, who was cutting, but cutting underneath it is Graham to take that one away. Now 30 seconds to go in the half. Wood will hold it here, and he'll let everyone catch up for the Cardinals. Larson going for the steal, but Wood keeps his dribble. 20 seconds to go. Now Wood. 5 seconds is going to be called here. So they're going to say Wood will be called on that one. And with 18 seconds to go, Algona will get it back. Helmers gets it into Garrett Goshi, and the clock rolls. Bulldogs down by 9. They'd feel better about themselves here if they're able to get this last shot before halftime. Now 10 seconds, Goshi on the right wing. Goshi drives towards the baseline, stops, got stripped, and before he did, he traveled anyways. So with 6 seconds to go, Algona cannot get a shot off before halftime, and now it'll be the Cardinals' turn here to try to take the last shot. Some pressure in the backcourt from Algona. Into Graham. Now up the court, Britson. 4 seconds. Britson to the bucket. Lays it up and it rolls out. Follows and he scores at the buzzer. Heads up play there by Drew Britson. Knew he had time as the ball spun back into his hands and got the follow out just in time to make it 29-18 at the break. Well, a lot of work to do here for Algona coming up, and we'll talk about it next here on Home Country Radio, KLGZ.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Call PMC Advantage with offices in Algona, Burt, Corwith, Garner, Sway City, and West Bend.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these sports club members.
Algona Frame and Auto Body Collision Specialist, a total commitment to excellence.
Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service, call 295-SOFT.
Dump It, commercial and residential garbage. They do the dirty work so you don't have to.
Hy-Vee, use the fuel saver, fill your cart, fuel your car.
Algona Livestock Auction, Highway 169 North, sale every Monday.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Style Salon, your salon in Algona. Create yourself.
Farmers State Bank, proud to be part of our community for 125 years, with offices in Algona, Whittemore, and West Bend.
Chemco Tires, they're all you need to know about tires and service.
Sponsoring this broadcast on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
New Way K&H Cooperative is a diversified partner to you and your community, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation. They serve farmers, non-farm consumers, and commercial businesses by offering quality products and services to match each individual customer's needs. At New Way K&H Cooperative, their customers are their #1 priority. Contact them today by calling 1-800-445-4118 to find out how they can put their ingenuity to work for you.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa bone, joint, and sports surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
Back here at halftime between Algona and Garner Hayfield Ventura, and right now it is the Cardinals with a 29-18 lead here on Home Country Radio and on our Algona Radio YouTube stream, which is brought to you by Chemna Auto. Not just about the car, it's about the care. Algona State Farm Insurance agent Billy Offerman. Algona Municipal Utilities, community-owned for community benefit, and Families of Bishop Garrigan sponsoring sports streaming here on our YouTube page. Of course, we also have Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants, and they've come on as our scoreboard sponsor. And looking at the scoreboard here again, it says Algona is down by 11 points here at the half, and certainly a tough thing for the Bulldogs to climb out of against one of the best defensive teams in Class 2A. We mentioned how the Cardinals are 8th in the state in terms of defense in Class 2A. They're giving up just under 42.5 points per game, and tonight certainly tracking with that so far. And we mentioned before the game how really tonight was kind of a battle of an Algona team that wanted to use their athleticism, play fast, and speed up the game versus a Garner Hayfield Ventura team that wanted to be very, very physical, maybe slow it down a little bit, and turn the emphasis to the defense. And so far, that physical defensive style is winning out here tonight, as the Cardinals have just really limited Algona. Not much has been available. Bulldogs have continuously tried to take the ball inside. They've had a few three-point looks that have fallen, but just not a whole lot going on in the paint. And really, I think a lot of that is a tribute to Evan Sloan, number 35 for the Cardinals. He has been like a brick wall in there tonight for the Bulldogs, who've tried to drive in and just haven't been able to get a whole lot at the rim so far in this game. On the other side of things for the Cardinals, it's actually a little surprising that they're not taking some more three-pointers, as coming into tonight's game, 41% of their shot attempts have come from three, but so far tonight they've really focused on taking it inside and getting to the rack, and they've had some good success at that so far. Right now, Drew Britson's leading all scorers with 12 points, and Britson was the guy we circled before the game, someone who's averaging 16.6 points per game for the Cardinals, and that was the guy the Bulldogs really had circled defensively. And I'd say for about the first 12 minutes of the half, Algona did a great job defensively on Britson, but all of a sudden, over the last 4 minutes, Britson just started pouring in the buckets, hit a nice jumper from the foul line, floated from the lane, and of course, he had that big bucket right before halftime where, in transition, missed the initial layup, got his rebound back, and followed up and scored right before the horn to give us the 11-point margin that we see right now for the Cardinals leading. So Britson of 12 leading the way. For Algona, Garrett Goshi has 8 points. He is the leading scorer for the Bulldogs, but again, just a total reversal of what's plagued the Bulldogs early in the season. I mean, we've talked defense, defense, defense. Bulldogs giving up over 68 points per game so far this season, and had a nice game against St. Edmund last night, much better defensively. And so far here tonight, pretty good defensively as well, but now the offense has gone cold against just an absolutely physical Cardinal team that is giving the Bulldogs lots of problems. But still plenty of time to work on it. About 4 minutes to go until we start off the second half and see what kind of adjustments the Bulldogs are able to make. We'll take a timeout as well and bring you half number 2 of basketball action next here on Home Country Radio and on the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
I loved playing high school sports. I loved the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, all the pageantry, and I wanted to keep playing. But I graduated. No colleges called, and neither did the pros. So, to stay close to the game I loved, I decided to become a high school official. You know, a referee. When I played high school sports, I learned the importance of integrity, good sportsmanship, and respect for the rules. Now, as a high school official, I get to help model these same values to others. Maybe the colleges and the pros didn't call, but the kids in Iowa did. And now, I'm enjoying the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, and all the pageantry of high school sports all over again.
Interested in becoming a licensed high school official? Go to highschoolofficials.com to learn more and begin the application process.
More Sports Club members making these broadcasts possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Catholic Charities, offering professional counseling services to families and individuals of all faiths. Learn more at cathchar.com.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush always beats a full house.
Grassmasters, get tips and advice from their lawn care professionals. Grassmasters, growing satisfied customers.
American Glass, for all your glass needs, think American.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, serving Algona, Sway City, and the surrounding areas with chiropractic, massage, nutritional care, and physical therapy services.
Dr. Bill Stroman, giving you something to smile about.
Jake Ingalls Electric. For shockingly good service, call 320-4286.
CB Grain Solutions, satisfaction guaranteed.
All bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
With today's technology, there's no reason to wait by the mailbox for bank statements. Just sign up for internet banking and e-statements. This is Sherry at Security State Bank. E-statements reduce the risks of mail fraud and identity theft. Internet banking allows you to check your balances, see checks and deposits that have cleared, transfer funds between accounts, make payments, and say goodbye to paper filing and shredding. Internet banking and e-statements from Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa bone, joint, and sports surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
We get ready for the second half of basketball action. Algona against Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. The Bulldogs with lots of work to do right now, down 29-18. But still 16 minutes to go and trying to turn it around for Algona. And so far this season, we've seen a pretty explosive offense from Algona at over 65 points per game, so all hope is not lost. And really, it's been a common theme so far for the team this season. They've gotten down at halftime a lot, and they have played substantially better in the second half multiple times. We saw it against Humboldt, Webster City, even yesterday against St. Edmund in a victory. Algona was down at halftime, but they rallied in the second half to win it. So we'll have to conjure up some of that energy they've seen in the second half of games so far this season and bring that to the table here over the final 16 minutes to try to overcome the Cardinals. Starting on the floor for Algona, it's going to be the normal starting 5: Mansky, Goshi, Feicht, Cecil, and Weber. And Garner, Hayfield, Ventura will do the same thing. Starting 5 of Wood, Roberts, Banky, Britson, and Sloan. We roll in the second half as Weber passes it into Goshi, and we're underway. Algona heading left to right on your radio dial. Goshi swings the ball above his head and bounces it to Tyler Mansky. 10 seconds into this half, Weber on the left wing tries to get past Banky. Gets cut off, though, and passes it back out to Goshi. Britson tips it away into the backcourt. He's mad at himself for not coming up with that one, but briefly disrupts the Algona offense. Mansky works to the left around the perimeter to Feicht. With 7:33 on the clock now, back to the right to Mansky. Mansky flips it into the near corner to Weber. Algona having a long possession here. Cecil pumps, looks, now flips it back left to Feicht. Feicht will get the screen from Cecil. He'll head to the right around the screen, and an offensive foul is going to be called here against Cecil. I think they're going to get him for a moving screen that time. Or no, correction, they'll get that against Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. It looked like the initial signal was against Algona, but Garner, Hayfield, Ventura is going to get called for running over the screen that time, Sam Wood. So, in fact, a good screen by Cecil, and he'll be the one to inbound it here from the baseline. Flips it into Tyler Mansky, and Algona continues with this possession. Mansky works into the far corner. Algona being very patient here to start the half, not taking a shot that isn't looking good. Goshi to the baseline, now to Cecil, rotates top of the key to Feicht. Heads to the left around the screen from Cecil, trying to bang his way inside, but he lost the basketball, left it behind, and Sam Wood picks it up. Wood runs, Wood spins to the foul line, passes it right to Britson for a three-pointer, but it deflects off to the weak side, and it's picked up by Weber. Weber angles towards the center and then flips it left to Cecil. Far corner to Goshi. Pump fakes. Britson too close for him to shoot the three, though. Goshi spins. He dribbled it off of Britson's foot, and Britson picks it up and runs now. Down the middle of the court comes Britson. Crossover dribble against Cecil. Gets too deep underneath the basket to shoot it, and then he traveled. That time it was a pretty clear one as Britson tried to make the pass, tried to pull it back then at the last second, and then shuffled the shoes as he was doing that. So a minute and a half into this one, still no one scoring here in the second half. Score still 29-18. Tyler Mansky just to the right of center, heads left, goes to the elbow, stops for a jumper, and he banks it in. Tyler Mansky goes glass, and Algona draws first blood here in the second half, getting it back down to single digits, 29-20. Wood will slowly bring it into the front court. He'll flip it to the left to Sloan, who had a nice first half, especially on the defensive side of things. Guarded by Cecil. Rotation around the perimeter to Wood. On the right side, now back to the left to Britson. Catch and shoot triple, and that one rims out. Weber and Mansky battle for the rebound. Weber gets it up to the near side to Goshi. Goshi towards the baseline. Goshi will step back towards the near corner. Across the court to Cecil. Around the perimeter it goes to Weber. Now back to the left wing, Mansky. Fakes the three with the head. Drives in. Tries to dump it to Fikes, cutting to the basket, but threw it a bit behind him. Britson runs the other way. Britson, reverse layup, and that one drops out. No good. Britson was on the left side of the basket. With his hand, he reached around to the right and somehow got a good-looking shot. And on the other end, Mansky gets to the lane and puts it in to make it 29-22. And a foul here. This one's going to get called against Caden Weber. He got tied up with Wood there on the loose ball. But all of a sudden, Algona has come out with just what they needed. Some good intensity on defense. And they've scored the first 4 points here of the second half. So Wood will take a seat on the bench for the Cardinals. And they'll bring Graham into the ball game. Cardinals have only used 6 players so far here tonight, and that's probably the way they'd like to keep it for the most part. Graham will handle the basketball here, coming up the far side of the court. And Weber almost picked his pocket, but he'll get called for the foul. Reached in that time, and he jumps in anger because he knew he would have had a free run to the basket that time if he'd gotten that one cleanly, but got a little bit of arm there as well. So that'll be the second foul on Weber, second foul on Algona this half as well. And Britson will collect the ball in the backcourt. Brings it across the timeline against Goshi, works towards the left, flips it down into the near corner to Banky, catch and shoots on the three, and that one's off target, but strong side rebound for Roberts. Roberts around the perimeter to Graham. Graham drives, Graham gets past Weber, Mansky helps, and it's a travel. He tried to make a hard stop that time, but drug the back foot, and with 4:59 on the clock, Algona gets it back. Well, this is much better defense for the Bulldogs as the Cardinals have yet to score here in the second half. Mansky to the elbow to Fikes, hands it back off to Mansky. He'll take a foul line jumper, but left it well short, and Britson rips down the rebound. Britson of some pace, a bounce pass down low, and laying it up and in is Roberts. He gets fouled, and he'll try to finish a three-point play. Nice transition play that time by Banky, by Britson. Britson's leading the team in assists, and he gets one right there. That'll be the first foul against Mansky. As Cecil and Fikes will sit down. Alex Mansky, Tristan Larson in for Algona. And Roberts will try to finish off the three-point play. Roberts takes a couple dribbles, bends the knees, and rattles in that foul shot to make it 32-22. So Cardinal lead has swelled back up to double digits. Mansky almost threw it into the backcourt there as Weber was able to collect it. Gives it to Alex Mansky at the elbow. Turns towards the bucket. Gets cut off by Sloan. Trying to go against him anyways. Fights up the shot, but it deflects off and is rebounded by Roberts. 4:20 on the clock. Roberts comes back towards half court. Now he'll head to the left. Down the lane he goes, trying to stop. That one almost could have gotten called there for a travel, but got the ball away to Graham. Now Wood into the lane. Stops for a foul line jumper. Misses off to the right, and Larson rebounds for Algona. Larson up the near side of the court. Into the corner it goes to Weber. Weber across the lane. Again sees traffic in the paint. Kicks it out to Mansky. Mansky to Goshi. Thought about a deep three, but rotates to Alex Mansky instead. He'll penetrate the lane. Top of the key, Weber. Now far corner to Larson. His three will rim out, and it's picked up by Britson for the Cardinals. Britson will run again. Britson floats from the lane, and Britson scores it. Cardinals don't play at a super fast pace, but when Britson gets the ball, he likes to go coast to coast. He's probably the fastest player on the floor right now for the Cardinals as Goshi pivots around a couple times, and he'll answer. Nice shot from the lane that time to make it 34-24 with 3:24 to go. Goshi's up to 10 points. At the elbow, it's Wood. Now to the near side, Graham. Left wing triple, and he airballs it. That'll go out of bounds as Tyler Mansky lets it go. Cardinals take about 41% of their shots from three-point range. Maybe not quite as much in the first half as they usually do, but they've had a few timely ones so far tonight. A bounce into the near corner to Larson. Holds the basketball above his head and takes a couple dribbles. Works around the perimeter, and the pass got knocked away by Banky. Banky runs. A bounce pass to the trailing Sloan. He'll lay it up and lay it in. Again, perfect in transition that time for the Cardinals. I mean, for a team that doesn't run a whole lot, they have looked very, very crisp in their transition here tonight. Now Goshi's on the far side of the court. Algona down by 12. Heads towards the baseline. As he'll flip it back out to Alex Mansky. Fought about the drive. He'll go left to Larson. Larson picks it up and saves it from going out of bounds. That one rolled off his leg briefly. But then he dribbles it off his foot, and it'll head out of bounds. Well, Algona had some energy here at the start of the quarter, but all of a sudden things just getting very, very sloppy once again. Couple substitutions here. Weber and Larson will sit down. Algona will bring in Welp and Helmers. So Mansky, Helmers, Welp, and Goshi for Algona. Ball goes into the backcourt, and Britson collects it for Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. The number 2 team right now in the top of Iowa West. Britson spins, he pumps. Now down to the baseline it goes to Roberts. Roberts back around the way to Banky. Banky jump stopping, showing the basketball. And he'll flip it back up beyond the three-point line to Wood. 2:19 on the clock. Wood penetrates. He'll fight up a shot, and he gets fouled. So up by 12. 2 free throws coming here for Sam Wood. Well, earlier we mentioned how tough the North Central Conference is. And, again, like we mentioned, they are 26-3 against non-North Central Conference teams. This is in danger of being number 4 right now as Coach Cecil will take a timeout. It'll be a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. So here is a complete list of every non-North Central Conference game lost by a North Central Conference team. Algona lost 91-71 against an 8-2 Esterboro Lincoln Central team. Webster City lost 67-49 against a 10-0 South Central Calhoun team. And then Iowa Falls Alden lost 57-40 against 4-5 Charles City. So that is the complete list. Those are all 3 losses the North Central Conference has taken compared to the 26 wins they've had in non-conference games. This conference has just bullied their way through the non-conference schedule. I mean, this is just, I can't say it enough. The North Central Conference in boys basketball this year is an absolute meat grinder right now. And Algona was getting a break from it, but their break is a game against 7-3 Garner, Hayfield, Ventura, so not really much of a break from the tough competition they're seeing night to night here in the North Central, as Wood is able to drain the first foul shot, 37-24, and the Cardinals have their largest lead of the night. 2:17 on the clock, as that's Wood's first point of the ball game. Wood bends the knees, spins that one up, and puts it through to make it 38-24. Well, Cardinals last night against North Union had a dominant defensive effort as well, as they held the Warriors to single-digit scoring in each of the first 3 quarters, including just 10 total points in the first half. And they're largely doing the same thing here to Algona tonight. As Helmers pivots, his shot is off to the left, and it's rebounded by Banky with 2 minutes to go in this quarter. Wood heads to the right, jump stopping and getting it to Graham. Graham penetrates, bounce down onto the baseline to Britson, who's well covered, kicks it out to Banky. Banky into the lane. He'll float with the right hand, but left that one well short. Tried to be a little bit too finesse that time. Now Tyler Mansky back the other way. Mansky leaks past Sloan, and he scored it. Sloan wanted to travel, but Mansky just with a great move that time. And the deficit back down to 12 as Mansky's up to 9. Britson with the basketball. Britson towards the foul line, working against Alex Mansky, and he'll bring it back out to the left wing with 1:22 on the clock. Works towards the right. A flip to the far side of the court to Banky. Banky across the foul line to Sloan. Sloan barging in. It gets past Goshi to the bucket, and he lays it in. 40-26. Sloan is just too big and strong right now for anyone on the court to stop. Now Goshi gets his pocket picked by Graham, and it's picked up by Britson. Britson runs, outlet pass up the court to Graham, collects it with the left hand, stops in the lane, rejected. Shot blocked that time by Helmers for Algona as they deny the transition opportunity. Now Alex Mansky back the other way, flips it left to Goshi on the wing. 45 seconds to go in the quarter. Welp starts into the bucket, spins in the lane, now flips it out to Alex Mansky. He'll rise for a contested 3 over Britson, but that one's well short, and Britson tracks down the rebound in the near corner. Wraps the pass around out to Banky with 30 seconds to go as he comes near corner to Sloan, now down to Wood, working on the block. And with 25 seconds to go, they'll get it back out top and reset the offense here of Banky. Coach Cecil telling the team to apply some pressure and not let the Cardinals run the clock down. 16 seconds to go. Wood drives into the corner. Banky, 12 seconds to go. Flashes across the foul line. Underhand scoop to Graham. Graham penetrates. A little Euro step there, but he missed it at the bucket. 5 seconds to go. Now the other way is Alex Mansky. 3 seconds. Defender falls down. Offensive foul on Alex Mansky. Evan Sloan may be the unsung hero of the night. He's not the leading scorer for Garner Hayfield Ventura, but he just drew a charge on that play, and he has been causing all sorts of issues for Algona defensively tonight, as pretty much Sloan's been camped out near the lane, and there has been nothing at the bucket for Algona. 1.6 seconds to go. It's into Sloan, and he'll try a three-quarters court heave, but that'll come up well short at the buzzer. A strong third quarter for Garner Hayfield Ventura as they picked up right where they left off at halftime. It's Cardinals 40, Bulldogs 26 here on Home Country Radio, KLGZ.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
New Way K&H Cooperative is a diversified partner to you and your community, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation. They serve farmers, non-farm consumers, and commercial businesses by offering quality products and services to match each individual customer's needs. At New Way K&H Cooperative, their customers are their number one priority. Contact them today by calling 1-800-445-4118 to find out how they can put their ingenuity to work for you.
8 minutes of basketball left here from Algona High School, where it's Garner Hayfield Ventura 40 and Algona 26. Tyler Lance with you here on Home Country Radio as Britson falls down off the inbounds pass. It's taken by Weber, and he'll get an easy lay-in as Britson is down on the floor right now, and he may be hurt. Boy, that was an awkward-looking play as Weber and Britson both fought for the inbounds pass that time. It almost looked like they bumped knees. And Britson will stay down here as the trainers will tend to him here at this start of the fourth. So Algona down by 12 right now, 40-28, as the athletic trainers take a look at Britson. And we'll take a look at the leading scorers so far in tonight's game. And really for Garner Hayfield Ventura, it's Ben Britson. He has 14 points to lead the way. On the Algona side of things, Tyler Mansky has had 9 points so far. Garrett Goshi up in double figures with 10 here, leading the way for the Bulldogs. And right before that quarter ended, we were just talking about how tough the North Central Conference has been this year. And taking a look at the records in the conference, how about this? 2 undefeated teams in the conference right now with Clarion, Goldfield, Dow's, and Humboldt. They're both 8-0. Webster City's 5-3, Clear Lake's 5-2. As Britson gets to his feet, Iowa Falls, Alden is 7-3, St. Edmunds 4-5, and Hampton-Dumont Cal also 4-5. As, boy, this is tough. Britson is not putting any weight on his right foot right now, as 2 Garner Hayfield Ventura coaches are helping him off the court. And that could be potentially a monumental loss for the Cardinals if this ends up being anything serious. I think it's pretty safe to say he won't be returning to the game tonight at any point, as they'll take a look at him. And we can only hope he'll be back sooner rather than later, because he has been a treat to watch in tonight's game with how he has been able to carry the Cardinal offense. So best wishes to Drew Britson, and hopefully that's nothing serious for the Cardinals. They'll have the basketball here after the Weber bucket. 7:48 on the clock. Working towards the left is Banky. Banky stops, and a foul is going to be whistled here against Algona. That'll be team foul number 6 against the Bulldogs, and that'll go against Landon Welp. And fouls can start to become a storyline here in the fourth quarter. Algona has 16 fouls. Garner Hayfield Ventura only 1, so Cardinals are 1 foul away here from being in the 1-and-1 as the inbounds pass goes off the hand of Banky and out of bounds. Banky a little sloppy that time, tried to just catch it with one hand rather than using both and securing the ball, and just had it deflect out of bounds. So Bulldogs down by 12 here, trying to pull the rally. They've won the past 2 matchups against the Cardinals. These 2 teams have actually matched up 15 times if you go back to 2007. As Helmers into the lane, pivots, works around, puts it up with the left hand, no. Alex Mansky soars in for the rebound, tries to fight it back up, but he traveled. Mansky was deep on the baseline and tried to back his way into a shot that time, but referees will get another travel here, and both teams have been plagued by that so far tonight. So handling the basketball for the Cardinals will be Banky, 7:20 on the clock. And again, in those 15 matchups between these 2 teams going back to 2007, Algona's 8-7 as there's a nice cut that time to the bucket by Sloan, but he can't finish at the rim, and the ball will deflect out of bounds here Algona will get it back of 7:10 on the clock. Close games are nothing new between these two teams, as 9 out of the 15 matchups have been decided by single digits, including last year's 55-54 Algona win. Mansky's out on the wing, 6:58 on the clock. Algona down by 12, got the ball poked away from behind. And Algona's going to keep it one way or the other, and they're going to call a foul here. Nathan Roberts will pick up his third of the night. Second team foul of the half on Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. So Algona will get a chance here to inbound it from the baseline in all likelihood. We'll get a brief towel stoppage here as someone went on the floor, and they'll mop up the sweat. So 6:56 left, 40-28 in favor of Garner, Hayfield, Ventura, looking to improve to 8-3 so far this season. And again, 2 of the 3 losses for the Cardinals were by 4 points or less, like we mentioned earlier. And one of them was a 1-point loss against Humboldt, who Algona saw earlier, and who Algona will see again later on this month. This time it'll be at home, though. That was certainly an entertaining matchup the first time the two teams met, as Mansky gets inside the foul line, tries to pivot away from trouble, but he can't keep the pivot foot that time, and he traveled. And Algona's starting to show some very frustrated body language here, down by 12 in the fourth quarter. More full court pressure coming here from the Bulldogs. They'll get the ball into Sloan. Sloan up the court to Graham. Graham to the bucket. Tries to pivot away from pressure, and he'll get it out beyond the three-point line. It rotates over to Wood. Wood across the lane into the far corner. Graham rises for a triple. Bounces high off the iron, and a foul will be called on the rebound. This one will go against Sloan for the Cardinals. Just the third foul for Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. Second one on Sloan. No players individually are really in foul trouble here tonight. We haven't really had an inordinate amount of fouls called. As Tyler Mansky jogs it across half court for Algona. Into the near corner to Alex Mansky. Now Welp on the right side. Welp starts to drive, stops, turns around, and Bulldogs will rotate it around the perimeter. Tyler Mansky across the foul line to the right wing Weber. He'll try a three, and he splashes it through. Much needed shot, and all of a sudden it's back down to single digits. With the basketball, it's Graham. He'll bring it into the front court here of 6:09 on the clock. Every defensive possession becoming important for Algona. Knocked away briefly by Helmers, but Cardinals able to keep it. Wood, guarded by Helmers, heads towards the right, drives, dumps it inside, laying it up and laying it in is Roberts. Beautiful find that time by Wood, and the Cardinals will take a full timeout here of 5:55 on the clock and a 42-31 lead. We'll take it right with them, back in 60 seconds on Home Country Radio.
For Sports Club members, bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Rental Zone, Highway 18 East in Algona. The tool and equipment rental specialist. Phone 395-RENT.
Dance Connection and Tumbling by Michelle. Passionate about teaching, creative about dance. Visit their studio at 1400 East Commercial in Algona or danceconnectionbymichelle.com.
Daylight Donuts, open early, serving yummy donuts, rolls, and great coffee. Located at 502 South Phillip Street.
Signworks for all your signage needs, as well as printed shirts, caps, and jackets. Stop in or call 295-9544.
Farm and Home Services. Check their mini listings at farmhomeservices.com.
Pizza Ranch. Eat in or delivery. Catering also available.
TAFE Wellness Center, Dr. Shane TAFE, keeping athletes in the game with chiropractic care. Located at 105 South Phillip Street in Algona.
All sponsors of this broadcast.
We resume here in the fourth quarter. Algona trailing Garner, Hayfield, Ventura 42-31. Bulldog basketball right now as Helmers will try to launch up a three, but it's another travel, and the Bulldogs turn it over again. Boy, those are piling up, the travel-induced turnovers, and the Cardinals have had quite a few as well, but many of the Bulldogs have come here in the fourth, especially in the past couple of minutes. Both Manskys have been hit with a travel. And now with 5:41 on the clock again, Cardinals up by 11 here. Wood to the front court, flashes across the lane and picks up his dribble, looking for Sloan to come around and get the basketball, and he does. Sloan down the center of the paint, and his pass is taken away by Helmers. Helmers runs, Helmers to the bucket, lays it up and puts it in. Back down to a 9-point game. Bulldogs need to rely on their defense to continue playing relatively well here as Weber gets in the passing lane and takes it away. Now he'll get out in transition. A bounce pass down low, knocked away, but it'll go out of bounds off of Graham. Boy, coming out of that timeout, the pace just totally shifted here, and that was a timeout taken by Cardinal head coach Jake Young, but that was probably just as valuable to Coach Cecil telling his team, hey, pick up the pace. Because in the fourth quarter, again, it's been that slow, grinding style played by the Cardinals, but all of a sudden here, out of this timeout, the pace has been blistering. Now Tyler Mansky from outside the lane gets that shot to drop through. Friendly bounce off the rim, and it's 45-32, and now Cecil jumps in and knocks the pass out of bounds. Boy, all of a sudden, after a lethargic first 3.5 quarters, the Bulldogs are flying around here in the fourth. Cardinals trying to inbound against the full court press, and they get it into Wood. Algona, over their first 6 games this season, gave up 72.7 points per game. They're allowing just 59.3 over the past 3, and here tonight, that game, they might try to allow under 50 here tonight. We'll see if they're able to either force overtime or get this one close at the end. Is rising up for a 3 and burying it from the top of the key is Banky. Huge shot, puts it back up to a 10-point game, 45-35. Mansky tries to answer the other way, and Alex Mansky swishes it. What a huge shot for the freshman that time, and it's 45-38. Sam Wood comes up into the front court, guarded by Helmers here. 4:19 on the clock. Bulldogs desperately trying to claw back into this one. Banky across the lane, flips it down to the baseline to a short corner jumper for Graham. It rims out no good, and Weber skies for the rebound. Quick outlet up the court to Helmers. Helmers down to the baseline, and a foul is going to be called against Wood. And I'm going to probably fortunate there as Helmers took a long stride and almost didn't keep the pivot foot, but they'll get the foul, and that'll be number 4 against the Cardinals. Third against Wood. Wood and Roberts both have 3 right now for the Cardinals, as Cecil looks to inbound it here. And there's going to be another foul against the Cardinals. Sloan fouled on the inbounds play, so there's foul number 5. Quick into Mansky. Cardinals weren't ready for it. He'll try a 3, and that one rims out. Cecil rebounds, goes back up with it and rejected. Oh, Roberts took a full swing at that one and knocked it away. A great block that time. Boy, Bulldogs did everything right there coming out of the inbounds. Cardinals were still standing around thinking about the foul when Mansky took an open 3 down inside the Roberts on the other end, and he's fouled by Cecil and will shoot 2 shots. But Bulldogs caught the Cardinals totally off guard on that one, and not only did they get an open 3-point look from Alex Mansky, which almost went down, they were also in perfect rebounding position that time as the Cardinals were just totally out of position. So they got a second look, couldn't quite finish it though, and now Roberts will shoot a couple. He'll miss on the first one, though, left it a bit short, and the score stays 45-38. Bulldogs have gotten a little bit closer ever since the injury to Drew Britson. He left at the start of this quarter after a scary-looking play that saw him injure his knee and leave without putting weight on it. Britson is still in the seats right now watching his team play, but there's no indication that he's coming back into this one. Oh, and now a turnover for Algona. They tried to flip it to Alex Mansky. He didn't know where he was on the court, but then tried to tiptoe at the last second and still ended up stepping out of bounds. 3:42 left. Still a manageable deficit for Algona, but that could change very quickly if the Cardinals are able to score on this possession. Across the timeline is Wood. He's been handling the basketball a lot since Britson exited the game. Now Roberts working to the left. Now we'll switch back to the right. Cecil almost got that ball to roll out of bounds on him. Roberts penetrates into the lane. A kick to the near corner. Banky. Quick touch pass to Graham. Whips it across the lane. Mansky tips it high in the air. Wood to the top of the key. Sloan drives to the right. Sees Cecil and flips it back out. But it's intercepted by Helmers. Helmers now will try to run. He'll let Mansky catch up. Passes to the right. Mansky floats from the lane. No, as it misses off to the left. Sloan gets the rebound there. And now the Cardinals will slow it up here as we take under 3 minutes to go in this one. Banky handles the basketball. Guarded by Helmers. 2:54 now to go. A pass to the right to Roberts, and Roberts will dribble back to the left. Guarded by Cecil. They get it to Graham on the wing. Graham reverses, crosses over, and gives it to Banky. Banky into the lane. Underhand scoop to Sloan. Guarded by Alex Mansky. Sloan into the near corner to Roberts, and Cardinals will try to reset here on offense. And now a push and a foul is going to be called against Weber. He fouled Graham that time, and it is a bonus situation, so the Cardinals will shoot 1-1 here. Sophomore Mason Graham will shoot a couple here if he's able to make the first one. If not, Bulldogs will try to rebound. He misses on the first one, and Alex Mansky rebounds. So Cardinals can't capitalize on the 1-and-1. Score stays at 7. Tyler Mansky drives down the lane, kicks it out to Alex Mansky. He'll try to penetrate as well. Gets to the bucket. He wanted the foul, but he won't get it, as that shot is short. And the Cardinals get the rebound. And the bounce pass is thrown away. Alex Mansky intercepts. He comes up the court, and he'll lay it in from the tips of his fingers. 45-40. This is the closest it's been since the first half. And Alex Mansky knocks the ball away from Sloan out of bounds. Things are starting to get very intense here at the end of the game as the Bulldogs have gotten so close, but can they get over the top? A timeout is called here by the Cardinals. It's a full timeout, so we'll take it as well. Back in 60 seconds, right here on Home Country Radio.
With over a decade of experience, Jake Ingalls Electric is here to handle any electrical job you could possibly have. From anything agricultural related to complex commercial wiring to something simple like installing a new outlet in your home, Jake Ingalls Electric does it all. Have your wiring done right and call Jake at 515-320-4286. Jake Ingalls Electric, shockingly good service.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Call PMC Advantage with offices in Algona, Burt, Corwith, Garner, Sway City, and West Bend.
And we're back coming out of the timeout as the Garner Hayfield Ventura Cardinals lead the Algona Bulldogs 45-40, down to 2 minutes to go in this one. This has been the exact type of game the Cardinals want to play. Very defensive-oriented, as a foul will be committed by Cecil, and he'll send Roberts to the line for a 1-and-1. That's the 9th team foul for Algona, so the next one puts the Cardinals in the double bonus. So far this season, the Cardinals have only scored above 60 points twice. They've been between 47 and 57 points in 8 out of their 10 games. And this game is looking exactly like that. So many low-scoring, grinded out, close wins for Garner Hayfield Ventura. And the first foul shot is good, making it 46-40. This is the all-critical second foul shot. If this one is converted by Roberts, it'll be a 2-possession game. Or check that, a 3-possession game. Roberts bends the knees, spins it up and drops it through, 47-40. He takes it from a 2-possession game to a 3-possession game as the Bulldogs have to work quick. Mansky out to Cecil with 1:47 to go. Now Goshi weaving towards the lane, getting cut off by Wood. Curling around is Tyler Mansky on the baseline, reverses, puts it up and puts it in. Great reverse that time from Tyler Mansky, and it's a 5-point ball game. Some pressure in the backcourt here against Roberts. Roberts on the near side in front of the Algona bench. Long pass caught by Wood, and he'll come across the timeline. Cardinals will want to force a foul here. They'll try to work safe passes as Roberts passes it left to Graham, guarded by Cecil. Graham works towards the right and flips it over to Banky. Banky guarded by Goshi. Goshi almost poked it away from behind, and then a foul committed on the second poke-away attempt. We'll see who they call that on here. That'll be Alex Mansky. It'll be his third. And Banky will be at the foul line here. So again, if he makes both of these, this will be a 3-possession game. If not, it'll stay at 2. And he'll miss on the first one, so at very minimum here, a 2-possession game for Algona with 1:10 left. 47-42 is the Cardinal lead right now. Banky will try again. Bends the knees, flips it up, and he'll drain that one. 48-42. We'll see if Algona will take the 3 here right away, or if they'll try to get an easy 2. A flip to the far corner. Alex Mansky has a great look from 3, but he left it short. Ball pops loose, and it's picked up by Graham. Graham up the court. No one in front of him. Lays it up. It's blocked by Cecil, but a push from behind as well. Looked like Cecil got the clean block of the right hand, but his left hand was on the back of Graham that time, and it's the left hand that gets called for that foul. So these are critical foul shots here. I feel like I've said that 3 times in a row, but definitely true as Cecil fouls out of the ball game with 57 seconds left to go. 48-42, 2-possession game right now as Graham spins it up, And it rattles out. Still a two-possession game. And now the pressure builds a little bit here for the second free throw. Graham with 5 points so far tonight. Flips it up, and he'll drain that one. 49-42, Algona back down by 7. They've been no closer than 5 so far in the second half. Hand off to Weber. Now he'll give it to Tyler Mansky. Mansky weaving into the lane. Turns 360 and passes to Goshi. Goshi is tripped and fouled. A little bit of a delayed call there, as it almost looked like Goshi might travel that time, but in any case, Goshi is initially here at the foul line, but that was only the 6th foul here on the Cardinals. So Algona will have to inbound it from the baseline. Nice job by Goshi, though, maybe trying to persuade the referees to send him to the charity stripe. Weber bounces it into Mansky, and then a kickball against Sam Wood. Wood did a nice job just sticking that leg out, and they'll force Algona to run the inbounds play again. They'll get it into Garrett Goshi, deep underneath the basket. Tried to scoop, but it was in way heavy traffic that time. And a foul will be called here against Algona on the rebound. Boy, well defended that time. Looked like Sloan and Roberts down there just locking up Goshi, and was way too deep to shoot it there. Alex Mansky picks up his 4th foul, and 2 more free throws coming here for the Cardinals. And now this game kind of turns into, you have a possession and then you foul immediately, and usually that does not end well if the opposing team can shoot free throws well. First foul shot is on the way, and that one is good. Cardinals this season actually not a great free throw shooting team, just 50%, but they've done pretty well here down the stretch. They're not a team that takes a lot of free throws. Just 80 free throw attempts in their 10 games coming into tonight, as the second foul shot bounces on the rim and drops through. 51-42, 9-point ball game with under 40 seconds to go. Mansky from the left to Goshi, jumping the pass is Roberts. He knocks it off of Goshi, and that'll be a turnover for Algona. A critical turnover here of time winding down. And Cardinals will have it with 36 seconds left to go. Looking is Banky, and Banky will take a timeout. Didn't want to get called for 5 seconds there, so used one of the remaining timeouts for the Cardinals. 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. And you talk about tough schedules. It has just been a grind for Algona, and sometimes teams will look to fill those non-conference opponents with automatic wins or teams they feel very, very good about beating, but Algona has had a very tough non-conference schedule this year, and this is certainly one of those games against Garner, Hayfield, Ventura, 2 teams that look relatively evenly matched watching here tonight, but again, like we've referenced multiple times, this game has just turned into a Cardinal style of play rather than an Algona style of play. And there was really a brief stretch here in the 4th quarter where Algona was able to really speed up the pace, and that was when it looked like they were going to get back into it and maybe even overtake the Cardinals. But just like that, the Cardinals have slowed it back down and gotten it into a half-court game rather than a full-court game. Oh, ball got knocked away, and the Bulldogs are able to pick it up on the turnover. Goshi has it, heads towards the bucket. He's blocked, but he's also fouled. And with 28 seconds left, Garrett Goshi will shoot 2 here for Algona. The Bulldogs caught a little break on the turnover that time. Might end up being too little too late here as Banky gets called for his first. Goshi has 10 points right now, coming off of that 24-point effort against St. Edmund last night. His first foul shot is up, and that one will rattle in. 11 now for Goshi, second leading scorer on the Bulldogs behind Tyler Mansky, who currently has 13 points. (51-43) as Goshi takes a couple dribbles and a deep breath, puts the foul shot up and drains it. Reliable as always from the free throw line. 51-44. Roberts, a bounce pass as Tyler Mansky tried to steal it, but he got Sam Wood on the arm that time. And at that point, nothing to lose. You either have to get the steal or the foul, so you can be as aggressive as you need to be going for the steal. And once again, Cardinals will trudge across half court and head to the foul line. It'll be Sam Wood, who tonight has 2 points, looking for a couple more. Cardinals will drop everyone back, all 4 of the other players, to avoid Algona getting a quick bucket here if Wood does miss this foul shot. Missing on the first one, and we'll have one more here. Wood spins the basketball, and that one's off the back of the iron as well as Goshi rebounds. It is a 7-point game at the moment. Tyler Mansky of 22 seconds gives to Goshi. He'll try a desperation three, bounces high off the rim, and skying for the rebound is Roberts. Roberts splits the defense, flips it up the court to Wood, who is wide open, and he'll get the lay-in to make it 53-44 under 10 seconds to go. Now Helmer's back the other way to Weber. 4 seconds to go. Goshi splits between the defense. 1 second to go. Algona will get one shot at the buzzer off, and that is it. 53-44 is the final score as the Cardinals close out the Bulldogs and get a gritty win here on the road tonight. We'll step aside for a timeout and wrap it up next on Home Country Radio, KLGZ.
With over a decade of experience, Jake Ingalls Electric is here to handle any electrical job you could possibly have. From anything agricultural related to complex commercial wiring to something simple like installing a new outlet in your home, Jake Ingalls Electric does it all. Have your wiring done right and call Jake at 515-320-4286. Jake Ingalls Electric, shockingly good service.
Sports Club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Kasuth Regional Health Center. Make KRHC your home for healthcare.
North Iowa Appliance, Highway 18 East, Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country on Highway 18 West, Algona.
Greg Penning and Company, LLC, your tax service professionals in Algona and Bancroft, where everyone counts.
Yemlin Builders and Quality Apartments for rent. Beauty and craftsmanship that will never go out of style.
Albert Electric. Flip the switch to Albert Electric. Call Neil at 320-0305.
Iowa Lakes Community College. Your community, your college.
Feed Mill Coffee Company in downtown Algona, where community connects.
All sponsors of this broadcast.
Back here to wrap it up at Algona High School as the Bulldogs fall to the Garner Hayfield Ventura Cardinals 53-44. Tyler Lance with you on Home Country Radio as we recap this game and give a few final numbers on the night. Well, the Bulldogs with the loss do drop to 4-6 on the season. Garner Hayfield Ventura just keeps on rolling. They improve to 8-3. And the scoring leaders for tonight, Drew Britson for Garner Hayfield Ventura had 14, Nathan Roberts with 11, and Braden Benke with 10. Evan Sloan added 8 points for the Cardinals. On the Algona side of things, it was the two usual suspects as the leading scorers, as Garrett Goshi had 13 and Tyler Mansky had 12. But overall tonight, just not enough offensive explosiveness for Algona. The pace of the game just got bogged down, and Garner Hayfield Ventura got Algona into a half-court style of game. The Bulldogs just could not get out and run. And when they did, the opportunities were just too few and far between. So well-executed game plan by the Cardinals here, sending the Bulldogs to their 6th loss of the season. And one other thing for Algona as well, they just had a lot of trouble finding any sort of space inside against this Cardinal defense. And a lot of that credit goes to Evan Sloan, who may be one of the MVPs of the night for the Cardinals. Probably went a little bit overlooked because he just had 8 points and was the 4th leading scorer on the team, but drew a couple of charges and really just played very pestering, frustrating defense in the middle of that lane. There was just no room against Sloan's size for any of the Algona ball handlers who normally love to penetrate off the dribble and find ways to get to the bucket, but Sloan just shut a lot of that off here for tonight. So he was really a big key to the game for the Cardinals. And for Algona, it's certainly frustrating for them to lose as well, the whole problem the first half of the season was just the defense isn't stepping up. The defense isn't making enough plays. And like we referenced before the game, the defense right now is 62 out of 64 teams in Class 3A. But tonight the defense played reasonably well. Again, maybe not a super game from the defense, but certainly Algona played well enough to win defensively. When you hold the opposing team to 53 points, you're expecting to win more often than not. But the Cardinals just were so physical tonight against the Bulldogs, and I'm not sure they were quite able to match up to that level of physicality here tonight. Part of the reason why they were only able to score 44 points on offense. That's over 20 points below their season average on the year. So still some questions to answer for Algona coming out of the break. They did at least get a win last night against St. Edmund to build on, but here a non-conference loss tonight against Garner Hayfield Ventura as the Bulldogs will get set to go back into North Central Conference play as we go forward. As we look ahead here to next week, a couple basketball broadcasts on the way as well. On Tuesday, we'll have Bishop Garrigan basketball as they will face Belmont Clemmy. We'll have Garrigan basketball again on Thursday against Eagle Grove, and then we'll carry Algona basketball on Friday against Hampton Dumont Cal. So that's how the broadcast schedule shakes out for next week here on Hometown and Home Country Radio, as well as on the Algona Radio YouTube live stream. As we wrap up for tonight, a big thank you to all of our streaming sponsors, including Chemna Auto, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Algona State Farm Insurance Agent Billy Offerman. Algona Municipal Utilities, community-owned for community benefit, and Families of Bishop Garrigan, sponsoring streaming here on the Algona Radio YouTube page. And, of course, Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants as well, the scoreboard sponsor here for our broadcast. That wraps it up for tonight. One final note as well, best wishes go out to Drew Britson for the Cardinals. Did have that scary injury there at the start of the fourth quarter and did not return to the game as he ended up leading the Cardinals with 14 points. So again, hopefully we see Drew Britson on the basketball court here again very soon. But best wishes to him as he helped the Cardinals get the win here tonight. Again, we hope you join us next week. Basketball coming up Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Should be a full week of fun all around the area for high school basketball. That'll do it tonight as Algona falls 53-44 against Garner, Hayfield, Ventura. You're listening to Home Country Radio, KLGZ.
I loved playing high school sports. I loved the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, all the pageantry, and I wanted to keep playing. But I graduated. No colleges called, and neither did the pros. So, to stay close to the game I loved, I decided to become a high school official. You know, a referee.